Cheers, guys. Brand new episode, and it's a big one. Today's guest is Carla De Klerk. She is a triathlete and all-round gift person. We have a chat about pretty much everything around Ironman and all of her personal experiences in Hawaii for the Ironman World Champs. If you are new to the channel, please go like, subscribe, review. I don't know, just go fucking press a lot of buttons. And Carla has lots to say about fitness, and I have lots of whiskey. So,
welcome to the Kackbrat Chronicles.
So I think it's just something I've always leaned toward, and it's just happened. Cool, but I'm glad you've invited me because I have a lot to say.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's nice to see someone that's actually real. That's like I said, that it's not your normal your Instagram page. It's not your normal fitness fanatic fucking page. It gives some real opinions, and I think in today's time where everyone's an Instagram model and everyone's a fucking influencer, it's nice to see something of a different speed.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that.
Listen, I want to ask you quickly, just before we get stuck in with the rest of the stuff. You said quickly that do you know the Oaks from Millennium?
Nee,
or do you just know of them?
Ja, nee, hulle was in Paris en my skoonpa, dit was lank terug, of seker 2-3 maande. My mom-in-law is quite a book radio, kyk net, koop vir ons, wat is die ding wat hulle by, soos nie die skouspel nie, anyway, those awards things, en ek weet, ek gaan net saam. So, my father-in-law mentioned that, yeah, they were in Paris, the Bart Broers, and I was like, okay, I was training for Kona, so I didn't know anything about anything, but when I saw you, actually, they've come up in my Spotify suggestions, and then when your podcast, I was like, oh, amazing. The episode was awesome. They are a hoot. Also, absolute chaos, so it's hazards.
Fucking chaos, really. Yeah. No, fine. I must say, I enjoyed the episode. We actually, I think, we were supposed to do the episode 2 or 3 days earlier, and then about 15 minutes in, we had some struggles with internet, and decided to do it on the Sunday, I think. But no, fucking chaos. No, those Oaks are fucking chaos. But it is so much fun, and I mean that is sort of the lifestyle. It's so real. I mean that they don't, there's no facade. There's no fucking blinkerkies and shit. Yeah. That is who they are. And I love it.
Yeah. What I think I love like about them, and something that I don't know if it's with age, I'm becoming so wise now. You see, I'm on podcasts and others. It's like they're shit at social media, and they like, fuck it, we don't want to be good at it. It's fine. This one loses its phone. Doesn't have a phone, this thing's flat. They outsource it and they carry on. Like, hulle leef, hulle absoluut leef. And and they don't feel bad about it. They like, we're not doing this, we don't dig it, but we're doing this. Ons gaan have beers and whatever. And that's cool. So
it is that thing of staying true to yourself. I think coming back to why I got you, it is, I mean, I think that's the same vibe that you've got. But let's sort of just start getting into it. I think why would you do the Ironman? Because I've been thinking of this. I know some people that have done Ironman, and it's like, it's probably one of the toughest things that you could ever do. It's, if I'm correct, it's 180 kilometers on the bike, right?
Okay, so you're gonna start with the swim.
What's the breakdown?
Yeah. Okay. So your swim is a 3.8 open water swim. Okay. So open water can be a dam, it can be the sea, it can be a lake, a reservoir. All right. So this is your full Ironman distance. It's a 3.8 swim. Okay, swim. Then you're going to do 180 bike, and then you're going to do 42.2 run, all in the same day. Well, under whatever the cutoff time is, 16 hours or whatever. So that is by definition what an Ironman is. You do get 70.3 races, which are also under the Ironman trademark. And they're exactly half of that, but in miles. So the total gives you 70.3 miles.
Okay. Now that's it just seems crazy for me.
So I mean,
what how did you start this thing? What made you decide, fuck it, let's go do an Ironman?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bit of my background and where I grew up, and because I think it's very important, and I think it is obviously what makes me who I am, as our upbringing makes us who we are. But I do think mine is particularly interesting, or I mean, I just think it's very important, and it might make sense. Okay. And I mean, yeah, Phil, you stop me like where you feel maybe it's gone over time or you want to focus on something else, but
no, you go for it. We've got a lot of time.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I originally grew up in a really small town called Mtindini. I don't know if you've heard of Mtindini.
That's up north, eh?
North coast of Natal. Okay. And school, I mean, very simple. I went to a school also in a small town, but we took the bus. And I mean, I wasn't like into sports or anything. It wasn't like I was anti-sports. There weren't so many kids. It wasn't like a sport-focused school. We did partake in PE and the odd athletics because there weren't enough kids and whatever. But I mean, I never went for a run or thought I need to get onto this team or go to the swimming. I mean, I did it for years for the inter-house stuff when it was time, but that was it. And I didn't feel like I was missing out. I was healthy, I was happy, but I was a bit bigger than I am now, if I can say that. I think I weighed about 10 kilos more. But I wasn't jumping on the scale. I was eating lasagna on bread. I thought it was fine, which, I mean, it's fine, but like no feature of any sport or type of achievement. Yeah, I did like extracurricular, like drama, culture stuff, but that was really it. So then I got to varsity and everyone was thin. And I thought, okay, interesting. I mean, small town, there really are. You don't see a lot of people. There isn't a gym. There isn't magazines flooding the shelves. So I go to Stellenbosch and I mean, there are I've never been in a class with so many people, and B, I mean, yeah, people are busy. People are working out. It's the norm. So my folks didn't give me a car in my first year. They were like, well, you must maar klappetoon for the first while. And our res was like on the other side of town. And my friend says to me, no, she's joined the gym. But she's like, gym in school, comes from like a bigger town. She's joined the gym. I need to sign up. So I'm like, the gym is on the other side of town. How are we going to get there? It's like, no, you're going to walk. And like, this
Get
is
your
me,
cardio
like,
in.
Like I was like 10, 12 kilos heavier. So I was like, well, fine, here we go. And that was where walking started. I hate walking. I hated walking then. I still hate walking. I had to walk to class. I was always late. No one wanted to walk with me because I made them late because I just hate walking and I walk slow. But I was going to the gym. I was getting my walk and I'd do whatever we did, a class, whatever, walk home. And it stuck. I mean, I really enjoyed going to the gym, and eventually I started cooking for myself. And I remember buying a women's health for the first time. And I thought, yes, this is amazing. Like I'd never seen something that put together with like, you know, it was inviting, it was cool, it seemed well-rounded. And I mean, I could honestly say like that's sort of where it all started. Then I started cooking my own food and trying out their little recipes and doing their little 5-minute glute workout. And then the first time I went home to my folks in the varsity holidays, I remember arriving at the airport and they were like, they couldn't even recognize me. And that had been a short time. So I just naturally lost like some weight. I mean, I wasn't trying really hard. I wasn't obsessive. I was just cooking my own food, going to the gym, reading this woman's health. And it was obviously really nice to have people almost not recognize you and their reaction like, wow, you look great. And also, I think it's something they never would put with me. I mean, I was always just like culture person or Joel or whatever. So that was actually quite a nice feeling. And then, yeah, I mean, about in my second year, varsity got hectic. And I really started depending on training for like feeling better and getting myself out of a hole when I was homesick. And I mean, most of the first years were like going out and getting their fix. I did that in matric. That's why I was rounder. I really found quickly how exercise was filling me almost emotionally, like ticking a lot of boxes for me. And I was also trying to get into medicine, so that didn't happen. And then in my second year,
what were you studying in Stellenbosch?
So I studied BSc Human Life Sciences. It was sort of what everyone studied if they didn't get into medicine and they were still hoping to get good enough marks to make it over somehow. But I mean, sure, it's tough. Varsity is hard, BSc is hard, and everyone is trying to do that. So everyone in your class is also trying to get into medicine. So when I didn't make it in my first year, I was like, guys, I'm out. I don't want to live in Stellenbosch. I'm going to go home. My poor parents, they probably paid all my race stuff for the year. And there's me in my Yaris loaded to the roof. I'm going home. But I wasn't total reckless about it. I made sure that I could study the same degree at a local university. But home I was going. So there's me back in Mtsinzini, but obviously quite a bit fitter. I'm still studying, but now I have a small problem. I really love the gym and there isn't anything. So what is there? Well, turns out there was like a really small little running club. And I thought, well, listen, if I must join this running club, I'm going to do it. I rock up 5 o'clock in the morning. They meet at the crossroads. And there were like sometimes 2 people, sometimes 10 people. And you just, 5 o'clock, they go. And they just run the same route almost every day, Monday to Thursday. And I mean, it's generally the same people, but it's pitch dark and you just run. And you start to talk to these people. And I mean, a month, 2, 3 months in, these people actually are like, they become your friends. I mean, I didn't have many friends left in Mtsinzini. They were still in Stellenbosch.
How many kilos were you doing back then?
We were doing anything between 8 and 10 Ks, Monday to Thursday. But I ran a little bit from gym back to res at varsity. So it wasn't like I started from 0. I could run 7 Ks. Not fast. And I mean, obviously initially at this running club, it was so tough. But that running club actually was the most amazing thing. I mean, the variety of people that are there still, is amazing. Because it's dark, you don't realize not how old people are, because they were old and young people, but you don't realize how much older they are potentially. And you connect, you talk about everything, and they become your best friends. And it's like the farmer and the doctor and the lawyer and the school teacher and someone who's retired. No, and then there's me, 21, probably the youngest of all of them. I don't even know if they knew I was 21. they obviously saw me growing up and they knew my folks and that
Yeah.
type of thing. But I mean, we ran. That was what we had in common, and that was enough. So I remember this club starting to, and also, I didn't have the right shoes. I didn't really have a watch. I literally set my alarm, woke up, and I went and I ran. That was my morning. I got my fix and carried on with life. And I remember one year they started to speak about, or the time had come, the time of the year had come, where people started speaking about the comrades. And I wasn't too phased, but then I realized that there were people going to run it. And I did a little bit of research, but it wasn't really like this big thing on my bucket list. It was just, everyone was doing it. What am I going to do now? Because they're all doing it. And one of the, let's call him the road captain, he was almost like a mentor to me, one of the older guys, Paul Mannix. He was wonderful. He is wonderful. He almost sort of gave me permission or said, okay, you know what? You can do comrades, because I had no idea what lay ahead. You need to qualify. You really need to train. But I had his buy-in, and that's how it started. And it was super basic. I mean, we all basically followed one woman's program. I don't know where she got it. I should still ask her where she got this program. But blindly followed it. We did what she recommended. I ran at her pace. And I mean, we talked throughout 8K, 10K, be it whatever. But I think that's a golden thing that happened there, because I did go do the comrades. I did my first comrades. It was amazing. We all did, but we didn't have, I didn't have the shoes, the gear, the amazing program. I ran in I think a fantastic comrades for the first time. I was so happy. It was really, really enjoyable. And the one thing we did do was we were consistent. The company was good. We committed to this thing, and every day, even though we ran the same thing, we'd have an odd time trial. We did it. And that was enough. It worked. So they already
is the comrades sorry, is the comrades just a marathon, or is it what's the kilometers there?
Yeah, so comrades is they call it the ultimate human race. It's a 90-kilometer road run. So you have to do a qualifying marathon. So I did do my first marathon there, and you have to do a qualifying ultra marathon. I did an ultra marathon there, and then you can run comrades. So it's also, it's huge. Some people compare comrades to Ironman. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but basically, I was probably the youngest person to run comrades that year, and that was 9 years ago now. But
bloody hell.
Yeah, I think the point is it didn't need a fancy program or the strongest squad or an amazing coach. It was just consistency and something that I wanted to do and not overthinking it. I mean, it happened. So that was really special. That was really amazing. Also, doing comrades, seeing people on the route that were in school with me. Some of the mean girls, their eyes nearly popped out of their head because,
Take that.
But it was never done out of a place of revenge or anything. It was just this light in my life, this amazing exercise that I discovered that I could channel so much into. And it was just always giving back to me. I was meeting amazing people. I'd get my fix, stress fix. It was just so rewarding. And as a young person, running was probably the cheapest thing for me. I was still studying. That's basically how the running started. I then started to do a little bit of cycling in between. I'd use my sister's mountain bike and cycle on the dirt roads. My jawling days were basically done. My friends weren't in town, so I was training. And I didn't have training peaks or a coach or this. I really just did it because I really loved it, and it wasn't about the equipment. Another year went by. I did another comrades, and that year I also did a 70.3 triathlon. But again, the training was pretty thumbsucked. I swam in the school pool. I did get a coach for that, but she was in school with me. And don't ask me what she made us do. I also blindly trusted her, but she was great. Um, and I trained on this mountain bike. I borrowed someone's road bike like a day before the race, and a wetsuit. I used someone's wetsuit, and I mean, it was fun. The race was fun. It was in Durban. I actually came second in my age category, which was like, wow. Didn't expect that because I'm not the sporty type. Let's say that.
Let me ask you this. I know you don't I know you don't ask a woman this, but what's your stats? What do you weigh? How tall are you? That just to give people an idea of what we're talking about.
Okay, so what I weigh now, so I weighed about 76 at school. I weigh 63-ish now, 64. And I'm 5'5". I'm 165 centimeters tall. My BMI says it's normal.
Apparently BMI is bullshit. According to BMI, I'm way north of obese, so I don't trust BMI too much. But anyway,
I also take BMI personally. I don't want to see the numbers. Just weigh me and I'm done. But I mean, just on that note, I mean, I also like now, something I've made peace with is that I'm not really I'm a numbers person in some aspects, but I don't really weigh myself often, or I'm not militant about the stats. But I mean, we can get to that. But yeah, so that was me, 21 comrades. I'd done a 70.3. I'd gone from 0 to quite a lot, and yeah, that didn't just fade away. I then had an opportunity to go back to Stellenbosch to study what I thought I really wanted to study. So here I go, back to Stellies with my sister's mountain bike. And yeah, I still had to get into the course I wanted there. I wanted to study food science, but it's quite sought after, and I'd applied a bit late. I didn't really know what I was going to do when I still didn't get into medicine. But in my final year of microbiology, I had like a food microbiology subject, and I loved it. I loved fermentation and making yogurt, and I really like that was awesome, because I really loved cooking at that stage and making, I don't want to say healthy food, because what is healthy, but just making stuff from scratch that I'd never made before and that I saw in, I don't know, a book or whatever. So here I go back to Stellies. My poor folks, remember, they'd been down this path before, so it's expenses from the beginning, because I've been staying with them for the last year and a half, which was great, but you can't do it forever. So off I go. I don't really have a course to study yet. I've been accepted for viticulture, which is winemaking, but I mean, I'm from Natal. What I know about wine is, or hey, I'm better now, but look, I wasn't destined to study viticulture. But I did want to study food science, and I knew that the spots were limited. They take like, I don't know, 120 students or something at that time. So there was that. And I also, I mean, I needed like a little bit of bucks. My poor folks, like they'd been really looking after me for a number of years. So I needed a job that I wasn't going to work too hard for too long to get the money that I wanted to do what I actually wanted. So it turns out I did a little bit of research, and I think I needed 2,500 Rand. I wasn't going to ask my parents. It was time. So I went and I worked as a waitress at Gino's in Stellenbosch, which is...
Gino's, yeah.
I mean, it's an institution. And I remember working there for 2 weeks until I got my 2,500 Rand so that I could pay for my spinning course, because I decided I was going to do spinning classes 5 o'clock in the morning, so that I could go to varsity, have some money for races, and not have to ask my parents. So that's exactly what I did. I worked very hard at Gino's for 2 weeks. I remember one day I ran the Cape Town Marathon and also lost my keys, had to get a locksmith, and I had to go back to Juno's and work my last shift. And I just ran. I was broken,
Oh,
but I
no.
mean, it happened. I got my gold bucks, and then I did the spinning course, and I started teaching at the gym in the morning, and that was great because it fitted my timetable. I mean, I'm an early riser, and yeah, I was getting my workouts. It ticked all my boxes, so that was cool.
So
But I
sorry,
yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand. So you needed this 2,500 rand to do a spinning course so that you can teach a class.
So I can teach a class, exactly.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So I did that, but I still wasn't in at varsity. Turns out that the owner of Gino's, Don, and the head of department of food science are best friends. Gunnar Siggy, he's Prof. Siggy. And when I mentioned to Don, look, he was like, well, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I'm going to teach spinning. Thank you. It was, I mean, Gino's is great. But I didn't want to be a waitress for long. It's hectic. But it turns out that Don and the prof were such good mates. And he said, well, just go speak to Gunnar. Tell him Don sent you. So I'm like, geez, that's bizarre. I mean, this is like my prof and Don. Like, I wouldn't ever put them at the same table.
Yeah.
I had a little batch of like homemade beer. I've brewed my own beer for just part of my fermentation vibe. So I went knocking at Prof. Siggy for just literally for verkering, so that he would let me go into my second year. I just needed one food science module. If he let me into my second year, all my problems would be solved, and I'd be doing what I wanted to do. True story. I gave him my homebrew beer, and he got back to me and said, it's fine, I can come. I was like, you won't even know I'm there. And yeah, that's how my second part at Stellenbosch started. I studied food science for another 3 years, and I did spinning classes at the gym. And yeah, sort of that way I stayed fit and earned a little bit of an income and ended up studying. So that was really great. And then I also did a lot of mountain biking in Stellenbosch, and I just sort of kept that whole trend going. Yeah.
So did you at any stage during all of this think that you would do an Ironman? Did you have plans of doing an Ironman or no?
So as I had been still, training quite a bit in Stellenbosch just for fun, I met people who were either doing an Ironman or Wines to Wales or Cape Epic. So I was getting used to people like existing that did these amazing things. And I had done a Comrades, although it wasn't something that I was just only a runner and Comrades was going to be my life. But I knew that I had more to give. And I was drawn to the big mountain biking events, which I did end up doing. I did quite like Wines to Wales events. I did Origin of Trails. They were pretty like hardcore endurance things. So like that, like base fitness, endurance, love was always there. But Ironman was like, that was for the real guys. Like to me, that was proper. Like if you can do Ironman, that was above me in my mind. And I'd met one or two people that had done it, and I'd always really looked up to them. And they're some of my great friends now. But it was to me like untouchable. Like you can't do it. I remember watching a video once, like Ironman for kids. It's like a tearjerker, and that's where the spark started. But I quickly looked at the entry fee and the requirements, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to do an Ironman in the next foreseeable future. That was always there. It definitely was always there. And always the untouchable thing, the thing that I thought I couldn't do. In fact, yeah. And so the next part of the story, I then moved to Cape Town to work, and I met Andre, who I'm now married to. And I sort of had a real job
Just
now.
Andre.
So yeah, Andre, he's a champion. Well, he's a champion for being married to me. But yeah, so I mean, Andre and I got married. I had a real job now, and I thought, maybe I can afford to do an Ironman. We'd been married for about a month, and then I pitched this idea, and he simply just said, Andre just said no. He's like, no, we must have lie-ins. We just got married. I'm like, oh my word, this guy's so boring. But
I love it.
In hindsight, he was absolutely spot on. And I mean, we'll touch on that. But I was disappointed, but I carried on running and I carried on riding my bike and I carried on swimming because I really loved these disciplines on their own. Like I would run from our flat and really point to the Sea Point pool and I would swim and I'd run back. But this was totally like me, like open my eyes. I really feel like doing this. And there I go. And I mean, I was working with a long plan, So I also remember that I set myself a goal for open water swimming. Also, no one said, let's do this event or da-da-da. I remember seeing an advert for something that's called the first swim of the month. So they swim at Clifton. It's organized, it's safe, but it's scary. I mean, it's cold water and I didn't have any friends to take with me. And I said I was going to do it in September. September came. I remember standing on my stairs at home and I'd been swimming a little bit more, trying to prep for it. And I couldn't do it. I didn't go. October came and I was like, Andre, you need to come with me. You need to sit on the beach. And I went and I did this like open water swim. And I think when I finished that, like, don't get me wrong, it's flipping scary. Like open water swimming in Cape Town, I think is scary. And I remember how scared I was that day. I remember actually how I was shaking, not from the cold. I was scared. But I had been preparing mentally. I'd been swimming in the canals. But even now, like swimming to people is a big thing in triathlon. It is scary. And I don't take that away from anyone. And I mean, it really did take me a while to get over it. But I think that day when I think I swam 4 kilometers in the sea that day. From like, I don't know, I hadn't been training 4 kilometers, but I think I might have swam to the wrong buoy or we got lost or something. But anyway, it happened. And and that was it. Also, the next year came. Andre didn't seem quite ready for me to do Ironman, but I was still swimming, running, riding, ready for when he did say yes. I also did a bit of trail running there. We got a dog who's here, our baby Charlie, our English Springer Spaniel. But trail running, I'll be honest, it's not my forte. Sorry, Mike Aubrey, my coach, who I adore, if he ever listens to this. But I'm just going to put it out there. Like I said, I hated walking. I hate walking. Trail running and me, you know what, guys, I'll support you, but really enjoy. So that all started. And then finally, I don't know when it was. All right. 2 years. This time, about a year and a half ago. It was like September 2020. I pitched to Andre again. But I had tried all the angles and I finally got the right one. And it seemed like he had my buy-in for this Ironman.
What was his stopping point? Why did he go no?
Well, because he obviously is a genius. Because if I knew what I know now, I would have never said yes. No, I think I mean there's jokes about it. Like if you get to the finish of Ironman and you're still married, you didn't train hard enough. Like there is
okay. Some inside jokes.
Just, yeah. I think also, remember, we'd been married now, and I do train already just for like my sanity. And it's not a lot, but sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to, I want to go to bed earlier because I want to do this run tomorrow or something. And I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't militant about it, but it is sometimes just like, a spanner in the works or like a bit of a downer. And And yeah, I think he obviously, not he obviously knew, I think he just had a good idea of what a commitment it would be. And now I do totally agree with him. I think waiting it out was a good decision. It also, when it did finally happen, I was so ready to just commit to it and like officially like start training for it. But I'd also decided to not put up a post, get a coach, just all in, because I had wanted to do Ironman before and not because, I don't know, Andre said no, or shame. I mean, I hope I don't make him sound like he rules my life or anything like that. I just
No.
obviously want to.
No, well, he's obviously. I mean, it'll be as we'll most likely get into. I mean, training for an Ironman is not just you guys are married. It's gonna be part of both of your lives.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can just take a guess that training for Ironman is a full-time job. So
yeah,
he's definitely going to be part of it.
Yeah, and I mean, he supported me in all my avenues of life. I didn't feel like he was being unreasonable. I think he was actually, yeah, he was my handbrake, but also a soundboard, and that was good.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so when I did finally think, okay, I'm going to do this thing, I actually just downloaded like a PDF free Ironman training program from Google, because I just wanted to see, like, can I actually do this training before I go and do the post, buy the things, because that's ultimately like what it is. Like, can this fit into my life? Is this something I want to do? And I think that was such a good thing, because had I decided, look, this isn't for me after all, or I'm not up for this, then there was no one to disappoint. There was nothing to say jokes. Like, it was just, I needed to check it out.
When you say the post, that's like an Instagram post or a Facebook post. That's what you're talking about, right?
The post, exactly. Like, you screenshot your entry confirmation and you're like,
I'm doing this.
Exactly. Because that's pretty official, If you declare it to your community, then...
that kind of keeps you to your decision. There's people 2 months down the line going to go, hey, winner, why are you not training now?
Exactly. And like, I mean, I see that often with people where I'm like, oh, weren't they supposed to? And then okay, I know what happened. But yeah, I didn't want to do that. Also think, sometimes, like, humility can go far away. Just see if it is for you. And anyway, so I jumped into the training, and I mean, I loved it. It was hard, but when January came, and Ironman was in the beginning of April, I saw the memory the other day. Then I only said, okay, guys, I'm doing Ironman. So, yeah.
Did you at that point, when you started your training, sorry, did you already have like a coach and all of that, or did you just test the waters and see if you could keep up with all of this?
Come on, Phil, I don't have the gear and the best. No, so I'd had a running coach previously for a trail run event. I don't remember working with coaches before that, but no, up until January, I didn't have a coach. What I did have, which is invaluable, is I had a group of people that I could train with over the weekends, even if it was just a long ride. But I was following this generic program that I had. It was so simple, but in hindsight, it was perfect because it was so simple. It was stuck to the basics. I put it into my life as it existed, and I didn't have to worry about a coach disagreeing with the structure or having to, and again, we'll get to coaches who obviously now have a deep respect for, but at that stage, that was perfect for me. I didn't have a coach. What I did have from about October, I didn't have an indoor trainer to cycle on. And yeah, in the week, it's often difficult to go out and do like a core bike set on a bike. And I also didn't have a gym membership, actually. I didn't belong to Virgin Active. But there was like some cycle studio here in the southern suburbs where I stay. And I ended up joining this guy there. His name is Ian Rogers. When I speak to people that know him, which is not often, not a lot of people know about him, but they say he's the best kept secret in Cape Town. And I really believe that because he's got the most basic setup. I really just needed the indoor trainer because I had the workout, but I was going to pay him anyway. So not that, I mean, he was so terrible with invoicing, and I mean, he was just loved what he did, and he was amazing. So he almost took on like quite a coaching role for me, because he'd be like, I'd walk in there and he'd look at me and he'd say, "You're tired." And I'm like, "Dude, don't start with me. I'm here to train. I'm not tired." And then he'd give me like a lame set and I'd be so annoyed. And then the next day I'd feel better. Or days where I'm like, "Ian, leave me. This is what I'm doing." The next day I'd like wake up sick or not finish the session. And obviously he knows. So he's from sports science. He's got such a strong coaching background. He's a cycling genius. But yeah,
What's,
so he was wonderful.
What does Ian do so that we can just pull
Ian
people towards him as well? Where can people find Ian?
Not on social media. So Ian has like a room above Freewheel Psychology in Kenilworth. And he's genuinely one of the most solid, genuine, real people. I mean, let's just be honest. Cycling and cyclists can sometimes be, I don't know, they can, I don't want to say the ugly words on this thing, but I don't have to say it. I think everyone thinks it. But there's no airs about Ian. Ian's got nothing to prove. Ian has so much knowledge and experience in his brain. He'll still give you an opportunity to figure it out and think you know better, and he'll help you anyway. So Ian's phone's always broken or lost. You're going to have to phone him. You can send me a DM and I'll send you Ian's number because that's how he is. But yeah, he's wonderful. Look, there are people that train with him. They go in there, you ride really hard for however long and you leave. You're not there to drink coffee and take selfies. You go, you train, you cry and you leave.
Is it like is it like a spinning class? Because obviously there's a difference between spinning and cycling and all of this. So is it indoors on a bike, or how does those? Because is it one of those where you have to stand up and you have to do this and then you have to go? Brrr. How does his system work?
So Ian's setup is, so just for clarity, so indoor training can be a number of options. You can have a stationary indoor trainer like a tax or a kicker or something that you put your own bike, you mount your bike onto, and that connects to software, and the resistance is changed on your bike, just to simplify, automatically based on the software. If you're going uphill on the software, it's going to feel harder. That's like what smart trainers do, or you can manually change the resistance. So that's an indoor trainer. Then you get a stationary bike, which is what Ian has, and what you can call a spinning bike. You do get different types. So that can be like a watt bike, which is a name, but ultimately means that the biggest metric it's concerned with is your power output. And it displays that. Or it can be a stationary bike like a spinning bike, which the resistance can also change, but there isn't a measurement displayed that you can read, and you can't adjust it super accurately.
Oh, it's one of those where you go, I'm going to go,
turn, and it feels like hate
Yeah,
those things.
I bought one of those bikes. We went down a fucking rabbit hole with spinning, and I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna spin now. Bought the second-hand bike there from a guy in Uitenhage there in the Eastern Cape,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No.
did it for, I think the first I did just on YouTube, did a beginner's fucking, oh, what a fucking joke. I could not keep up. I could not keep up with fucking nothing there. I promise you that next day I couldn't walk, and also my ass was so sore because those spinning bikes, the seats are as big
No,
as a fucking tamaleki. You can't. There's no.
no.
I'm
Phil, wait
probably
till you
about.
see a time
I'm a
trial
bit bigger
saddle.
than what I'm supposed to be. But yeah,
Yeah,
that thing broke me.
yeah.
But yeah,
No,
it's
look,
interesting. It's interesting all the tech that you get nowadays, and I think while we're on it, training for something like a Ironman, with all the tech that you said, just this guy uses or that you can use,
yeah.
is it better to use stuff like a spinning bike and a treadmill and swimming in a pool? Or do you need the real world shit, like going to swim with fucking sharks down in Cape Town and running
Yeah.
when it's raining and all of that?
So I think my answer here can apply to a number of questions. So I always say, like, do whatever you need to do to do it, just to start. So if, for example, you don't run at all, but you want to run, I don't know, a trail run, but you're unsure about running outside, it's the middle of winter, you're scared, but you know running on a treadmill isn't the same as running on a trail, then run on the treadmill. It's fine because at least you're running. So to me, convenient. So it's, you get nothing. Okay, you're not doing anything. Then the next best step is probably the thing that's most convenient or available, or the thing you can do without too much missions. You know, like, okay, there's
Yeah.
spinning. You're a member at the gym. There's bikes at the gym. Just go. Get on the bike. You don't have I know you don't have a program yet. I know you don't know what to do, but there's a bike and it works. Do it. It's winter. You don't want to train outside. It's raining, but you know that your cycling race is on road. So now you're just going to sleep in because it's raining and you're not able to ride on the road. No, get on the trainer. Like, just because you can't do the exact thing doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. In fact, I think sometimes there's even benefit to not doing it in real life. And I mean, it can be something as obvious as it's not safe. It's maybe New Year's Day and you're somewhere unsafe. Don't be on the road. Get on your trainer. But also, having compact equipment, it's quick to set up and convenient. You don't need to put on a helmet, 10 million different things. Number two, it's comfortable. Like, you can have whatever you're watching and your sweets and your whatever, and you're going to be able to, you know, sit it out without threats of a puncture or whatever. Your likeliness to complete the session is pretty good, you know. And okay, well, look, it gets boring, but we can talk about that. And yes, and then you can do more focused work. Like, you can really focus on intervals or building a certain whatever. So a session in a pool is focused on, say, today you're working on your catch and your, I don't know, whatever it is, as opposed to open water swimming. There you're working on sighting and seeing how long you can go, that type of thing. So there's room for both. But if you can't do one or you can't do the other, don't not do it. Does that make sense?
So it is better to do the real life thing, but if you can't do that, at least do something.
I would like to say, yes, it's better to do the real life thing because that's what you're going to do on your goal. You know, your race is going to be. But I wouldn't, even if I'm able to ride only on the road, I probably would want to say, right, I probably do want to do an indoor trainer session because it is focused and you can manipulate the resistance much quicker and more accurately as opposed to using your gears out on the road. So you do need, or let's say for cycling at least. Swimming, I've seen people get away, open water swims, only doing pool work. And the other way around. So
Swimming's an interesting thing, I think. And that's one
it's
of
a
the
horrible
questions
thing.
that I've got with swimming. Because swimming, especially when we talk open water, I mean, you said you can swim in a dam and you can swim in over here and over there. But fucking going in the ocean, my man, I don't fucking, I go as deep into the ocean as I'm sure I can run up. And I don't. Hard if you go like you said earlier, you went for a 4K swim. How deep do you go in?
No, listen, well, I'm not gonna ek gaan nie doekies omdraai nie. Swimming in the sea is scary, and it's okay if you're scared of swimming in the sea now and you're about to do a big event. It's totally normal. It is scary. It's flipping far out. I'm not gonna lie. It's just one of those things where you're like, listen, the day's come, I'm doing it. You put on your wetsuit, you cry in the shower, you come back out, and you go in a group and you do it. And I mean, often people have a panic attack. That's why you have friends and they're like, listen, you're fine. You're not going to die. Put your head down and just get on with it, because it's not, I mean, it's not easy, especially if you're not. I'm fortunate that I grew up by the sea. I'm not scared of the sea, but I didn't grow up in Cape Town sea that's cold and deep. But again, baby steps. I think if it wasn't for being able to swim in the canals, which is something we have access to at the waterfront, even my first canal swim, it's literally like a like water, channels of water around buildings, and it's shallow, but there's fish, and sometimes you can't see the bottom, and it's cold because it's open to the sea. I remember the first time swimming in the canals, it was dark as well. You swim at 6 a.m, jumping in there, you can't see the bottom. No, heck. And this is 2 years ago, and 3 or 4 years ago, I can remember it so clearly. So that was scary. And until that got a little bit less scary, which I would say it took 10, 12, 15 times where I wasn't looking down being like, this is insane. Like I'm a child by a Loch Ness monster. Then you move on into the sea, and it's still scary. And even now when I go into I mean, obviously Hawaii sea is very different to here, but swimming in the sea, it is scary. But I think there comes a time where you just got to do it. You just put your big old panties on and get stuck in.
That I must say that I think I can obviously the running and the cycling is graft. That's work. But fucking swimming in the sea would take my mind. I don't know, because it always, if you watch it on the TV, it always just seems so fucking chaotic because there's so many people. Like if you want to overtake someone while you're running, you just press the zoom button for 5 seconds and you passed it. And a bike, I think it's the same. But like swimming, you can't just go. It's fucking, you have to put in effort to pass someone, and it's kicking and it's crazy, and then there's the looming threat of sharks and octopi.
No, it's small. No, absolutely. If like people that swim in the sea, like you're a badass. I really, hats off, as Millennium would say. You have guts. It is scary. And also like swimming on your own in the sea, swimming with 10 people in the sea, swimming in a race in the sea. It's carnage. Like people they will swim over you. They will pull you by your feet. They'll elbow you. I'm beyond the point thinking it's malicious. Like I think people get in there and they just panic and they just grab and just trying to survive. But I must say, like a Kona swim, I think most people there have been like, okay, listen, I'm going to Kona. I need to learn how to swim properly now. That was pretty civil. I mean, I'm not saying everywhere. I think, the group that I got in with and we just swam. You find feet because it helps. You don't have to constantly spot someone and you sort of have a bit of a slip. And you can also really draft a lot in water. So that's also, I think, where the chaos and the carnage effect comes in. But if done properly, swimming can be quite strategic and enjoyable in open water. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping around a lot now, but it's
Please
just
do.
the way my mind works. Out of all of this, what would you say is your best event between the cycling, the running, and the swimming?
I'm very average at all of them, actually. So I think I enjoy swimming the most, but that's probably my worst. Like I wouldn't say I think I've gone from bad to average with a lot of hard work, and I'm thrilled. I'll take average. That's fine. But enjoyable, I think probably cycling at this stage. It also doesn't hurt so much yet on the bike. Running was my first love, but the way things have been going, I mean, by the time I get to the marathon part, I'm shattered. So everything hurts. But I think, in terms of performance, I'd say I'd probably put my money on cycling and running to pull me through, but not swimming.
Do you take that into account while you're training, or do you for the sort of training to go to
Yes.
Ironman, the world champs
Yeah.
that you did? Is that something that you take into account? Did you go sort of like, I want a good average over all of them?
No, so you do definitely take it into account. So example, I mean, I've got friends and people that went to Kona that are natural swimmers. They swam at school, they swam at varsity, they just are fast. They don't, and it's conscious. They don't put as much hours behind their swim training as someone would if they're trying to improve. Also, swim training and trying to improve, it's tricky because you also need to gauge whether the amount of hours you're going to put into improving your swim time by, say, a minute or two, and the likeliness of that happening in however amount of time you have, compared to that amount of time put behind a discipline you're already good at, might gain you more time in the race with the same amount of energy or time commitment and training, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, for myself, I definitely needed to improve my swim, and I worked really hard with that. I got in with a swim squad, and that's quite good because it gets you to work on speed, and you don't have to worry about what's on your program or not finishing the session. You rock up, you get in the pool, people are swimming in lanes with you, 5-6 people in a lane, you swim, get it over and done with. And I mean, I saw huge improvements in my swim time. I don't know if yes, you can always be better. But what the swim squad did, I think was amazing. And I could definitely recommend that for anyone who wants to pick up on swimming. Yeah.
I think we've touched a bit on Kona now, which is in Hawaii. I wanna. There's. Okay, let's get some fucking structure because my mind's everywhere. How do you end up going to? Because the Hawaii one was the Ironman World Champs, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
What do you do to qualify for that? Because obviously you can't just rock up one day and go, "Hey guys, I'm going to Hawaii."
Yeah. So basically Ironman, my first Ironman, full Ironman, was last year in April with PE. And that was the one where initially
you're not allowed to
didn't
say
do
PE anymore. It's
Sorry.
Kleberga.
Yes, full. Okay, I'm gonna have a whiskey and then I'm gonna try You nailed it though. Yo, that's beautiful. My ear's actually ringing a little bit. Okay, so PE, I wasn't expecting a certain time or this because number one, it's your first full. Like, what are you even doing? Like, it's insane. It's a lot to, you don't know what to expect. And number two, things happen on race day, like swims get cancelled or bad weather or that type of thing. So it is already a big thing, I think, to have big expectations at a race. So definitely not what my plan was for my first one. But again, I'm not surprised that I was able to complete it and do reasonably well because I had done 3 comrades. I've run lots of ultra marathons. I think I've done maybe 30 marathons in the past 8 years, all very, I would say like, yeah, not in like very focused, like I'm going for this marathon and this is all I'm training for, but just because I was always running and, oh, yay, we're here for the weekend and there's this marathon. Amazing. I'm doing it. Oh, do you guys want to go away for this marathon? Yeah, we're going. Like, it's just always been something that I've enjoyed. I haven't always made it a big thing. They're sort of just ticking over, So I had that experience to believe that I was able to stick it out and do Ironman and finish Ironman at PE. So, okay, let me tell you how it works to get a world champ slot. Okay, so you get Ironman events all over the world. They're Ironman branded and they're this distance 3.8, 180 bike and 42 run. So Ironman World Champs is a competition that they hold annually, if COVID allows. And they have a certain amount of slots available for athletes to come and partake or do the event. And this can be determined based on the location, capacity to host, that type of thing. So Ironman World Champs will make an announcement and say, okay, this year we've got 4,000 slots. Thereafter, they'll pick a few races where you can qualify for one of those slots. So it's not necessarily every Ironman that's a Kona or World Champ qualifier, but there will be specific ones. And one of them is Ironman African Champs, which they host in PE every year in April or that time of the year. So the amount of slots also varies between different Ironman races globally. I mean, they can say, okay, South Africa, you guys get whatever, 1,000. Malaysia, you get whatever, 500, that type of thing. And then within the Ironman South Africa or African Champs, they'll say, okay, age category podiums. Women 20 to 24, there's 3 slots. Men 30 to 34, there's 2 slots. Does that make sense?
Sorry, when they say slots, it means if there's 3 slots in that age category, the first 3 oaks or the first 3 ladies, they get those slots.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So you understand that part. Okay, so here's where it gets tricky. And here's also where it gets kind of cool because it's quite a game changer. So you understand that's what they do so that the best athletes or age group of athletes in those countries all go to world champs and compete against each other. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If, for example, somebody decides not to take up their qualifying slot for whatever reason, they forfeit it. They roll it on to the next finisher in that age category. So if number 2 decides they're not going, number 3 decides they're going, Number 4 is going to get an invite. It's called a roll down entry. So it rolls down. I don't know if it's until infinity, because, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but people, the likeliness of that slot getting taken by 4 or 5 is really good. So does it make sense when I say people who really want to go to Kona or to a world champs? I don't know if we should call it Kona anymore because it's going to be in different venues from now on. But for this conversation, I think if I say Kona, it still means Ironman world champs. If you want to go, you can increase your likeliness of going by doing races where there are slots available all over the world. You as a South African can go and do Ironman, whatever, Portugal, and say that Ironman Portugal, maybe they have 2,000 slots where South Africa had 1,000. So your chance of getting a qualifying slot there is quite good. Again, it depends who else has that same idea. Anything can happen, but if you know, if it's something you really want to do, people do it. People go to Australia. It's expensive, but again, if it's something you really, really want to do, you do it and can do, obviously financially viable. So that's how it works. But another thing that is quite interesting and also where it gets tricky is the way they do the roll downs. So traditionally, you, at the award ceremony, get a coin, and that's sort of saying, here's your slot. But you have 48 hours. I don't know if it's even less at the actual prize giving. But you have maximum amount of time you have to commit, as in pay your race entry, is 48 hours. If you haven't, you automatically forfeit your slot, and it gets rolled down to the next person. And this is hectic. I mean, you can want to go, but not have the cash flow to pay for your entry and not able to gather it in 48 hours.
What is the cost there?
So I think it's expensive. Ironman to me is expensive. Triathlon to me is expensive. I think, say this year, if you want to do Ironman and PE, I think it's about 10,000 Rand an entry. I think. I don't know how many euros that is. Let's just say it's like 500.
About 500 euros.
Yeah. But if you want to do world champs, it was about $1,100. No. Yes. Let me just quickly do the conversion here.
1,100.
Yeah, it was about $1,300. I remember it being about 23K, which you have 48 hours to commit to. So, but I mean, so even if you gather the budget, you also need to think, what is this trip going to cost me, and when am I going to go, and can I? And before you know it, you're running out of time, and you got to flip a coin.
That's just your entry fee?
That's just your entry fee. That is your confirmation
so you
email.
have to fly there. You have to all of the other bullshits. I mean, that's just to secure your slot.
That's just to secure your slot, and it's hectic. Because I mean, it is a lot of money, and I think PE and even local triathlons are expensive because you're going to pay for your entry, you're going to pay for your logistically to get there, your bike to get there, your accommodation. I mean, Ironman PE can easily set you back 30-40K for a weekend vibe. Take someone with you, So it is hectic, but I mean, I don't want it to sound like something that is so expensive and people can't do it. It's just, it is expensive, but you can do it. You can do it. It's not, you don't need to win the lotto or be a millionaire to do this. Like, we can talk about that, but I think let's talk about it now. So,
yeah, go for it. Because I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you now is sponsors and all of that. How does that work?
Well, so another point on qualifying. What I really want to say is, guys, if I could qualify for this, anyone can qualify for this. It is so within your reach if it is something that you want to do. All it takes, you got to just be up it, keep an eye on your emails, or know what's going on at the race when they're handing out the qualifying slots, and have decided already if that opportunity comes, are you going to take it or not? I hadn't thought about that, and I was blindsided, but just never say never. Never say never. Because another thing that they did now at Mossel Bay 70.3, I wasn't there, and I hope that this is the right story. Apologies if it's not the way it happened, but this is the way I understood. They announced that qualifying slots were allocated, say, at 4 p.m. So if you saw on your results that you were top 3 or 5 or whatever, and you think you got a qualifying slot, you need to go at 4 p.m. for the announcement. I don't know historically if it's always been you had to be in person to receive the slot, because with COVID and that type of thing, it might have changed. What they did at 4 o'clock is they let everyone into the hall. They closed the doors. So everyone that arrived for the announcement, it could be you and your friend or whatever. They closed the doors. They said, okay, guys, this year for Finland, because 70.3 World Champs is in Finland this year, they said there are however many slots there were, I don't know, let's just say 500. There's 500 slots. How many, let's say 500 slots for men. How many men are here? People put their hand up. Okay, there's 500 men. You guys all get a slot. So people got slots that...
Just for attending.
Well, again, I don't know if maybe they were top 5 or where the boundary was, but the people that got first place and weren't there, they didn't get their slot. That's the point I'm making. So
Yeah.
be awake. Anything can happen. If you've come top 10, there's a good chance you're going, because people also decide later on that they're not going to go anymore and they might have already accepted, and then it still gets rolled onto you. No, they don't get a refund. So there is ways to get a slot. And if it's something you want to do, you must do it. Okay, let's talk about the financial part. Yes, it's hectic. I'm not gonna say it's not hectic. It is very expensive. But because it's expensive and you think because you don't have the cash up front to pay for stuff, it doesn't mean it can't happen for you. With a little bit of, I would say, hustling and faith and a good attitude, things work out. And they work out in many ways. And I don't want this to sound hoo-ha, fairy, fairy, but I didn't have any specific sponsor or brand behind me and, assurance that I was ever going to go. I felt like on top of all my training, it was a constant, a hustle and am I going to go? Or, geez, I don't even know if I want to go anymore. I'm so stressed. Okay, not often, but I had those moments. It wasn't easy, but things work out. And this can be anything. Like, I got a tax payout for, I don't even know. I'm still waiting for SARS to come, and I hope no one's listening. It wasn't humongous, but it was a bit, and every bit helps. You have family members that see a post or something, and they give you a small donation, or friends do things for you, let you use their bike bag or their bike, or, someone has... That is what is amazing about, I think, if you have a strong network and foundation and you have the right people in your corner, it will work out for you. Yes, you have to hustle a bit from your own side. Don't be lazy. It's tough. You're training. Now you got to work hard too. Maybe you got to do something on the side, but it can happen. You just need to, from the beginning, commit that you're going and keep that attitude and it will work out. I mean, my mother-in-law baked rusks and sold them to her friends. And I started making my own drink mix because I also needed a drink mix and I couldn't afford the expensive one, and started selling that to people. I'm still getting orders. Andre was amazing. I mean, it was obviously from his side to friends as well, that just every bit helps. People really pull through for you. And I'm totally confident to say that you can go. It will work out. If you want to go and it's something you dream about, finances is not the reason you're not going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's part of the whole. It's almost part of the training where if you feel like fuck it, I'm gonna go, then you make it work. Somehow you make it work. It's like I said, it's part of the training. It's part of fucking grafting. It's part of sorting everything out. Sort out your finances, man. Come on.
100%. And I mean, it's something that, I mean, look, I'm not debt free yet from Kona, but I also, I mean, money is something you just make again. You know, it's not, I'm not very, I don't want to say sentimental. I don't think that's the right word, but you know, it's really just a bargaining tool that we have to live our lives as full and do the things we want to do. So yeah, it's gonna hurt, but
you make more money. You make more money next month.
Exactly. It's no reason to not go. And also the experience, the world-class effect, it's worth every cent.
I wanted to ask you about the sponsors. Let me just get my drink sorted out. Yeah.
Do you even need
I'm mooring the whiskey, so you fucking. I don't know if you're drinking something there.
They just say that I caught up enough on the weekend.
I love that the podcasts are like an excuse for me to have copious amounts of whiskeys. I love it.
What whiskey are you having?
Just Ballantine's.
Okay.
I'm a
Valentine's.
I'm a creature of habit.
Oh, you'd be a very good triathlete.
I think it's part of my little autistic light traits. I struggle to. I'm a creature of habit. Especially with the podcast, change. I need to. I have 2 vodkas, and then I switch over to whiskey, and I normally have a beer while I'm setting up, and I normally roll my rollies, but I'm on cigarettes because my father-in-law brought me some cigarettes from SA, so I can smoke Peter Stuyvesant again for the first time in a year and a half.
Shame, man. Yes, see.
But yeah,
you must smoke them slowly. Eh?
Are you happy? Are you enjoying yourself?
Am I doing okay?
No, you're doing kiff. No worries.
Tell me if I speak too fast.
I'm
probably going to listen to this and cringe in my skin. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine.
Most people do. Don't worry. I've got most people go like, fuck, no, I did this and I did that, and then fucking 2 days later, they're okay, no, it's fine. Don't worry. Okay.
No, I'll probably ask you if you can re-record it anyway. It's fine. I'm joking. It's fine. Yeah.
How do I put this? Because obviously you were sponsored to go to Kona. Kona. How do you say it? The fucking away dorpie Kona.
Why do you say I was sponsored?
Kona. Because you ran with the thing that said the wilderness.
No. Okay, so that was for PE. That is an old post.
Right.
I ran for nature for PE. So that was cool. That is something you can do. So if you don't get a normal entry, like say they sold out or you're late or you want to do a fundraiser, I really did also want to do a fundraiser. You can pick a cause, and then Ironman basically gives these slots to these charities, but then you have to buy it from the charity. So you
Okay, sorry. Then I was wrong.
pay it off. I mean, you can pay the entry directly, or you can get sponsors. But yeah, very cool. At the time I did it, they were doing quite a lot of research on. Do you remember when there was that thing about the sound seas? There was like noise pollution under the water, potentially affecting sea life. And there was quite a bit of funding went to that, which I thought was really cool. I love the sea. I even volunteer at the aquarium sometimes in my spare time because I've got so much spare time. No, it's been a
Seriously?
While. No, well, I mean, I haven't done it in at least a year.
What do you do when you
volunteer? So you can work front of house or behind the scenes. They have like a display where you literally under a microscope can show whoever small things that appear in our rocky shores, like in Cape Town, like if you go to the tidal pool, but that people would probably never know exist. It can be like small little plankton animal, like phytoplankton and zooplankton, and they're getting chowed by like the little urchins. It's like in real time under a microscope.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, and like it's stuff you would like just think it's a shell or something basic. So that's the microscope display. You can work that, or you can work behind the scenes, and you can feed penguins or help clean, or there's just so much work. They always need volunteers. So if anyone is listening to this, you do have to do a short course that you pay to do, but see it as part of your donation. And then, I mean, you learn so much like rocky shore biology stuff. And you can volunteer at the aquarium. And it can be, I mean, there's amazing stuff to do. And if you love animals and sea animals, it's really awesome. Yeah.
I love whenever I go to Cape Town, I go to the oceanarium there.
It's the best.
Because it is, I can stand in front of those big tanks. I can stand there for fucking hours and just look. And I know it's not gift because the animals are in fucking little crits cages.
I think they will look after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
you should
fucking
go
love
Kona. Like swimming in Kona, swimming the race. It's literally like putting your face in an aquarium. There's just fish everywhere. You know, like in harbors here and I guess in other places of the world, harbors are usually like polluted and there's oil, and there the harbor is like, I mean, there's tropical fish under the boats. You want to swim in the harbor under the boats. There's just no pollution. It's amazing. It's super, super special. And I can recommend Hawaii over and over. It's not even that expensive out of season. It's far. It's 3 flights. It's literally the furthest place from South Africa in the world. Like it's 180 degrees on the other side of the planet. But unreal. Middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like Charles Darwin would love that place. It's amazing. You just go for a casual swim, like under the waves. Next thing, there's turtles. Like that's where they live. Obviously, turtles are supposed to be in the sea, but we just have killed them. And the locals are amazing. They're really passionate about nature conservation, and they'll tell you straight up, like, get away from the turtles. Don't touch the harnus.
Let's have a chat about your time there. And I think I want to start with, obviously, you get there. What's your how do I want to ask this? Because obviously you get there, you are jet lagged. As you said, it's on the other side of planet Earth. You are jet lagged. You're sleeping in a strange bed. There's everything's new, everything's strange. You're excited. It's adrenaline. Take me through all of that, because this is this amazing experience. And then also tomorrow you have to go fucking run for 1 million kilometers.
No, I mean it's Mal. I'll be honest. I think from the moment you get that email or that slot, or the moment you pay and you realize you're going, it's like life. You get a feeling that you've never felt before. So you're almost like a new person because it feels like you're dreaming, but you're also scared and you know you have to train and you're tired and you're stressed. It's insane. So by the time you actually get on the plane and all of this is happening, it's like you're in like it's surreal. It sounds so cliche to say it, but I'm not well traveled. I mean, I'm from Mtindini, guys. um, and yeah, I mean, I've never left Africa as a continent. But what really helps and what I would recommend is, and that's something that I think South Africans are great at, and they'll probably do for any world champ, is you connect with other people going to Kona this side already. So I didn't know anyone except for one person, and I didn't know that person very well, but there was a WhatsApp group. Coaches put us on the same groups, on one group, and before you know it, you're following someone on Instagram or someone sending you a message like, "How are you feeling? Are you also really scared?" Or your stuff's not together yet. You're like, "Dude, I don't know what I'm even doing." And that's how you connect. And I've made friends with people that I'd never met before. Some people that I met that side for the first time, but I already felt like I knew them. And now I feel like we connected for life. Obviously, we did something amazing together. But honestly, get in touch with people in your immediate community, or at least in the country, that are also going to an event or the world champs, and just have them as a soundboard. I had people that we'd send long voice notes just like about how tired we are and how hectic our lives are. And I mean, anyone else listening to that would be like, this is ridiculous. Like, what are these guys complaining about? But just to keep you sane, because it's so hectic and it's so overwhelming. So when we did get there, we were all in the same boat. We were all equally tired. We were all equally lost. We didn't know how to drive on the left-hand side of the road. I had this license as well. And no, it's chaos. It's chaos. I mean, more specifically, yeah, I started connecting. So I ended up getting, it was a great opportunity now as well, but a spot went open in a house with some South Africans. So I didn't have to look for accommodation or book anything. They'd already done it. I sort of just slotted into their existing plan. Small problem was that it was 5 guys and then me. So I had to just make sure that Andre was happy. And really, I mean, to be quite honest, the thing is, you're so tired and you're really there with one intention. Everyone's on the same page, and it worked out perfectly. Like, I'd say those guys are some of the dearest friends that I have, and it was the best dynamic. I don't think it could have been better. I wish they had more beers with me before the race, but that's okay. But it really helped having a group together, because you could figure it out together. You had someone to help you. So also why we said that's a great idea was I raced on Thursday and they raced on Saturday. So I was able to sort of hook up and help them logistically when it was their race, and they could do it for me.
Do they do the men's race and the women's race separately?
Okay, so that's now sensitive question. So in the past, they had it all on one race. This year, they caught up last year's race that was postponed because of COVID, and this year's qualifiers. So there just isn't enough space for racing, racking, bikes, all of that in one day. So they split it into 2 separate days.
Okay.
It was weird not racing with guys. But again, like, I was able to help them logistically. They were able to do it for me. And I think I'm a guy's girl as well. I'm very happy to, it worked out perfectly. Like, it was really great. They were awesome. They are awesome guys. In fact, it never felt weird. But I think like if you go to varsity, you live in Diggs's and I live with the man. I've been living with him for 4 years. I think that definitely helps. You do sort of understand. And they also, I think everyone is married. No, not everyone. But I mean, it wasn't, they knew when I needed space. But yeah, so I think the bottom line is it's overwhelming. It's a new country. It's driving on the other side of the road. And remember, it's not just a bag. You've got a bike and you've got a bag and you've got border control. Oh, that's also there's lots of stories. There's lots of challenges, but if you have people to go with, it makes it easier. We all sort of en route started linking up. Like I had a flight with one guy and then the two of us met up with another 4 guys in Doha, and then we all met up finally in Hawaii, and even on the way back. Like it really helped traveling together. Yeah.
Okay, so you get there, you land, you sort out your bike and your bag.
No, find Burger King first.
Okay, so how do you... What happens then? How much time have you got till... Okay, let me ask it this way. Can you go 2 months beforehand and get acclimated, or are you only allowed to stay there for a week before or 5 days before the race? So how does that work?
Yeah, so it's a brilliant question, and it's again just now how you said, is it better to train indoors or try to do real life scenarios? In an ideal world, and if you're a professional athlete, which most of them are able to do, you will either go train in a place with a similar climate month before the event, and you'll acclimate and you'll get used to the conditions. You'll see what your body does in these temperatures, how you feel, how it affects everything. It's obviously really important. But I'm not a professional, and we aren't professionals. We don't have unlimited pit of leave balance and budget. So realistically, the best I could do, and this was me like even pushing my leave balance into a negative, was leaving South Africa on a Wednesday and arriving on a Friday. I'm not going to get into the details about gaining time versus but basically you travel for a long time. You get there on, let's say you've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're racing on Thursday. So I had 5 days. Realistically, that is not enough time to really get used to anything, because number one, you're in your taper. So you can't really go out for like a 3-hour ride. You don't have enough time to recover from that, although people do it. I mean, again, this is me and my personal experience. I don't have a qualification. I'm not a coach, but that's what my coach and I did. I didn't go out for anything exceptionally long. I think the guys went out for a 3-hour ride. A, they're really strong athletes, and B, they had 2 days on me. Comparing how I acclimatized, whatever the word is, to them, I almost think they were a bit better than I had, because I was trying to stay out of the sun, trying to rest, and they still had opportunity to train. But their coach also had I want to say almost a shorter taper period. They all had brilliant races. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's because of that. And there's still a lot of research going into that whole heat adaptation vibe. I did do a lot of indoor sauna training this side of the world. It was atrocious. But I was like, you know what? Let me do it. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to try to do everything I can to make things count in my favor. And I still battled. It was really, really, really hard. So ideally, yes, you go to Kona, you go there for a month, live there if you can. And, when the race comes, it's an everyday thing. But realistically, Every day you spend there's obviously time away from your family, time away from work. It's expensive. But Hawaii is amazing. I think I would love. I mean, by the time I left, I said I'm back. I'm opening up a coffee shop. Yeah. No,
Opening
it's
a
amazing.
coffee shop, just like that.
Well,
Selling.
coffee's huge there. There's a famous coffee shop or infamous coffee shop called Lava Java. And they offer, if you want to see pros, that's where they hang out. Really great coffee, but it's like iconic. Like if you watch Ironman World Champs live stream, you see this road, and that was really amazing. Something you watch this race, and it's like watching rugby, and you dream of this amazing stadium. Or like Andre sometimes watches golf, and he's like, oh, he just wants to play golf at, I don't know, St. Andrews, and now you're there, you're walking literally, like you've been seeing this on a screen, and now you're there, you buy that tree, the tree that's iconic, and the guys at the tree, it's basically over, and you're touching the tree, and you're in the water, and it's unreal. And I mean, the pros are everywhere. You are walking among them, they're running past you. It's like it's not real. It's not real life. It's like you get to be in this virtual piece of like Hollywood for 3 weeks, and then you have to come back to normal life. It's really hard.
While we on the thing of it not feeling real, can you explain to someone, because we've gone through all of the training, we know it's fucking graft, it is putting in the work. Yeah. And you I think one of your posts said that sort of just getting to the start line of an Ironman is almost enough. Can you explain to me, can you put into words what it feels like finishing like going over the finishing line of Ironman World Champs? Can you put that into words?
No, you can't put it into words. And I think obviously watching it is one thing, but like as I'm speaking to you, I have goosies. Like it's hard for me to talk about it, because it's you as you're approaching the finish line, it's like everything comes at you at once. And it was exactly the same for me, my first normal Ironman. You think about all the sacrifices and how hard it's been, all the debates and the negotiations you've had with yourself, how many times you've tried to speak yourself out of training, and how many sacrifices other people have made, how hard it's been on other people around you, and how this moment has been your carrot for 6 months or a year. I mean, when I did Kona, it had been a whole year of training for full Ironman. It's crazy, and it's in one moment, and then you're through. But there's just this one moment, and that's like, you could say it's like one of the best moments of your life, and you've worked so hard for that feeling and that actual moment. And I mean, people experience it in many ways. I mean, it can be in a marathon, it can be something like, I don't know, walking out of a bad relationship, but it's a feeling of all of your efforts and your bravery, and this is it. You're reaching the tip of that iceberg, and you getting that feeling. You've worked so hard, so it's really special. And I mean, the guys that announce it, especially at World Champs, they've Mike Riley, he's retiring now, but they've been doing it for decades. Like it's so amazing to hear them say it, to say that you're an Ironman, because that's what they say. You lie in bed and you can think about that moment. You think that is happening. That is what they're going to say. And it's really motivating. Very, very special.
Looking back on the person who you were starting the preparation for this race, and looking back at the person who you were finishing this race, because I want to get into sort of the more psychological thing of doing Ironman. Do you think, and this comes back to, this is a bit of a callback to why the fuck would you want to do an Ironman? What I think I want to say the same. Why the fuck do you want to do an Ironman? Is it a personal gratification thing, or did you feel like you need to prove something either to yourself or to someone else, or is it just something like, fuck, I want to do this?
No, I think obviously it's different for everyone. Ironman to me was always like, it was the ultimate thing. I looked at people with an Ironman tattoo or an Ironman cap, and I thought, wow, you are, that is amazing. And I didn't think it would be something that I could ever do, for many reasons, financially, capability and talent. I mean, remember, I didn't do sport at school. I'm not athletic. I don't have this natural background of just sport and performing. Everything that's got me to this point has been like a little flame inside me that wants to do something and acts on it, and then just goes and does what feels good. I've never done triathlon and training ever out of force or not out of a place of love. But that being said, training for something like an Ironman is hard. It is not sunshine and roses every day. It's a lot of hours. I remember one week I clocked 24 hours of training, and I thought, yes, that's hectic. That's like another day in a week. Like, you have two lives, actually. You're up. I mean, I was up at 4. I still get up at 4. It's just in my routine now. But by the time you're trained and showered, I mean, you've done a lot. Like, you could have, I mean, one of the guys that I stayed with, on Thursdays, he would ride on his indoor trainer for 3 hours before work. That's a lot of, that is a life on its own. But I think what I can really take away from it and why you do it, it's really just a struggle between you and you against you. It's really actually quite alone. Although it's a sport against other competitors, it's just you. And you're constantly, as I said previously, you're debating and negotiating with yourself every day. Oh, but maybe I can lie in. No, don't lie in. You need to do this training. Oh, but maybe, I really don't feel like this set. I'm just going to do a chilled run. Or, this swim after work. I have to finish this work project. You trying to get yourself out of it, but in your heart of hearts, you have to do it. And you're also obviously juggling other balls. It's not easy. There's other aspects of your life that also need attention. So you have to constantly give a little and take a little and find the balance. There's a lot of sacrifices and planning. Remember, you've almost got this another life. It has its own equipment. It has its own bag. It has its own. It's its own life. You need to nurture it and I think you realize why people give up, because it's not, I don't want to say it's not easy. It's the most cliche thing, but it's by doing it, I think you prove to yourself that you care about your dreams, and you don't settle for average. If you define average to yourself and you say, well, doing Ironman is going to prove to myself that I'm not average. I'm able to do what those people do. And it's sort of saying, like, I choose hard. I don't choose an easy the easy way out. I choose this. And yeah, I think me doing full, I felt like I didn't want to just do a half, because to me, it is a big effort to pack bags, plan your day, get the equipment, shower, wash your hair, look presentable for work. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it anyway, I just swim for an hour and a half. I want to get my full money's worth. Like, I'm in the pool anyway. Let's just do this thing properly. So the race, I mean, I think it's great. We like, yes, you did an Ironman or you finished Ironman. That's awesome. But if you told me this person literally started Ironman, or went to registration, and then something happened and they never got to actually do the event, I can't emphasize enough how much credit they still deserve, because 90% of the work is everything you do leading up to that race. That race, you're definitely going to finish that race. Like, hello, you've done everything. And the race is already the reward. Like, you get to do the race. That's enough for you as an athlete. You even the finish line, the medal, the after party, that's great. But going and doing the race and competing, that's your reward. Like, you just want to do that. That's what feels good. Being in that water, seeing how your efforts have paid off, being able to be there and stick it out, because it's a feat. It's not just a thing you sign up for and you do. It really, there is so much that goes into it. And you can see that in anyone. I mean, I think I try to stay lighthearted, and Andre keeps me grounded. And when I come back with all my stories, he's like, yeah, but okay. Something about golf, and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. And it's fun. It's good because it keeps you balanced and it keeps you, I want to say, normal. But if I have an opportunity to say that it is hard work, but so worth it. And yes, it is increase in self-worth, but I would say it's more the way you feel about yourself than proving to other people what you are and affecting the way they feel about you.
I think I think you can if you how the fuck do I say this? I think if you it comes to a point where I don't think going as far as Ironman doesn't prove a point on Instagram. Like the likes you get on a post is useless because it doesn't take you as far as Ironman. You can train and you can do all that and you can make your fancy posts of you standing on top of a Table Mountain because I jogged up it. Fucking go do Ironman.
Yeah.
It's that sense of accomplishment, as you said, for yourself. And I think that's most people that do Ironman it's to prove something to themselves. It's that Joe Rogan, and I hate fucking doing the Joe Rogan thing on this podcast, but I always do it. But Joe Rogan always says it's that conquering your inner bitch. It is that if you don't want to go for a run,
100%.
fucking go for a run. Shut up tell that little piece of your mind in the back of your head, shut the fuck up.
100%.
I'm your boss. I'm gonna go fucking run now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing. And it's a hell of an accomplishment to do something like this, because I should have maybe looked at the statistics, but I don't know how many people actually finish an Ironman World Champs, but I'm going to go with 0.01% of all people on Earth, because it's fucking crazy.
No, look, it is absolutely crazy. But I mean, again, I finished it, but there are people that are way worse set up to finish it than I am. I mean, I don't want to say worse, but there are friends of mine that have kids and really intense careers, and I look up to them and I'm like, geez, that is amazing. I mean, yes, everyone has their own version of hectic, and I'm not taking anything away from them or even myself. But like people are amazing. People are awesome. And I mean, this year at Kona, there was even the first Down syndrome guy ever to finish an
Oh wow.
Ironman. And I mean, that is crazy. But if people want to do something, they're going to do it. And if you don't want to do something, don't feel bad about not doing it. Don't feel obligated to commit to it. It's in you, and that's what will make it happen.
I'll tell you this, and this is not me bragging in any sense, because this was an absolute terrible attempt. But me and a good friend of mine, Jim Broadbent here from the UK, we did Sober October.
There we go.
And while we went through the whole Sober October thing, a friend of my wife's said that there's a marathon going on, or half marathon going on, yeah, close to us. And I thought, fuck it. During the month of Sober October, me and Jib we did a bit of kettlebells, and we did a bit of this, bit of that. Nothing extreme, but just to stay active while we're not drinking through the month.
Yes.
And I thought, fuck it. We've got a treadmill. I'm going to run a bit, and then I'm going to do this half marathon. Ended up being, I got sick. I was sick basically through the whole month of October. So I did zero training. As much of training as I could have done for this half marathon. And we ended up being late for the event. Well, not late for starting, but late in terms of I literally rocked up to a half marathon with not having trained at all for a month, besides doing kettlebells, which doesn't help you running. And I got there, and they said, because we couldn't find parking, and then I put on my techies, and then I walked there, and they said, all right, you're going to go this way, that way, that. There we go. I was like, fuck, okay. I've got my earphones in, and I ran. And the first 10, I'd say 10, 15 kilometers went by quite okay. And then I think probably by kilometer 18, 20.
The wheels came off.
Fucking, my body just said, hey, we're going fucking
training.
nowhere.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
I must say, I don't feel bad. I finished in 2 hours, I think 2 hours, 24 minutes, which I don't feel bad about.
No way. You clearly have something. Come on. That's good.
I'm quite, like, my job keeps me going. I stay quite fit with farming, as is. But the worst thing, and that's one of the things that I want to ask you with this whole bullshit story of mine, I think I had about 2 kilometers left, and there was a 5K and a 10K, I think, on the same day. So we were running the same course, but every now and again you get people turning around for whatever the race they did. And there was a big stretch where I was just running on my own. And I thought, like, fuck, I'm not doing bad, and I'm keeping on it, and I've got my music blaring in my ears, and I'm going in. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to be, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to be sexist and misogynistic, or whatever you call it. But a woman ran past me that was at least 20 to 25 kilograms more weight, weighed more than what I were. And it fucking broke me.
Oh, so she overtook you?
She overtook me, and emotionally it put me back. I'm very sorry. I mean, that's just how I felt. I thought, fucking how how are you? Come on, man. You can't allow this.
Can
And
I
I
say?
chased
It's
her
what we do.
for high five. I chased her for 500 meters, and my feet. There was some point where I had to, like I said, I was running with music in my ears. I had to go on Spotify quickly, go and look for power tunes to get me through this, to get me through this.
Shameful. I'm
I
sorry you had to
finished,
go through that.
but yeah, but that just goes to show, like, I barely finished a half marathon, never mind a full marathon and a cycle and a swim. So I think you saying you average in terms of, I think you can boast a bit.
Well, look, I enjoy it. But listen, the fact that you just whipped that out and knocked off a half marathon with kettlebell training is not nothing. So my point is there is something in all of us, whether it's a bit of talent or just domheid, but it will get you far.
It is a thing for me. For me, it was just a thing of I wanna prove to myself that I can do it.
There
I
we
wanna,
go.
and it is that don't want to say his name again, but it is that thing of controlling your inner bitch, where your mind tells you we're tired, we can't go anymore, my knees don't work, my ankles are not up to it, my feet are fucking tired. Please stop. And then you go, fuck you, Dale. We're gonna go
100%.
another 2 kilometers.
100%.
And I think that's what I want to ask you is, where does your mind go for 10 and a half hours
Sure.
while you're doing all of this? Because if I'm correct, you're not allowed to run with earphones. You can't have music. You can't have anything. You're running with your own thoughts. Swimming and cycling.
Yeah. So I think anyone who does endurance sport has this place they go that they love. It's a thought train, and it doesn't even need to be a conscious thing, but basically it's a state of mind that you obviously are getting a kick out of and can probably utilize only by these endurance events, because then it would be easier to get that kick. So it's definitely something that I don't know scientifically what it is. I think that, well, for me, I mean, I have ADHD, diagnosed adult ADHD, but
Cheers.
I find it exceptionally soothing. And for someone that is impulsive and doesn't have patience, I really am surprised that I'm able to stick it out for the long haul. And I think what it is obviously endorphins. They're kicking in, and you want that. I want that feeling to last as long as possible. That's in a nutshell what it is for me. But in terms of things that I think about, I mean, I think you dip through moments of, yes, okay, look, this is how I'm talking, you're cruising, you're having a good day, you're on the bike, you're in your tri-bars, it's beautiful. And I always think about gratitude. I'm grateful for creation. And I mean, we don't need to go into detail, but I really do feel a connection to a creator, being in nature or seeing wonderful creation. And that to me is really comforting.
No, but wait. I don't want that answer, because that's a clean cut answer. I want the answer where you are running in Hawaii or swimming in Hawaii and you are in the thick of it.
No, that's all different.
I want what's going through your mind over there, because we can all think of bullshit while we're running down the fucking street here in South Africa. I want what's going through your mind in a high stress situation with adrenaline and excitement flowing through your veins in Hawaii. What's going on there?
Okay, so let's just say Hawaii was not the best race that I've ever had, and not the first time I've had, and not the best race I've ever had. but heck, it was very expensive. En jy moet nou maar klaarmaak, because that's it. Also, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back. So I said to myself, girl, you got to now maar slick your tears, because here you are. You probably aren't coming back. So you better finish. And you can ask the guys that I stayed with. I mean, there were stages where I said that I'm done. I'm finished. I thought, how am I going to tell everyone back home that I didn't finish this race? It's the first time I'm not finishing a race, because it was hard. And like, I don't know what to say. On the day, my body just didn't show up. Things did not happen the way I wanted to. I don't know why. I haven't quite dealt with that yet, but no, it was atrocious. I felt horrific. And it happens. It's happened to me many times. What do you think about? Yeah, this is what I said to myself. I said, if I finish this, I never ever have to run again. I said, all I need to do is finish this event. I never ever again. Promised myself. I was like, Carla, you've had such a good innings. You never have to do this again. Like, it's cool. You used to love it. You've changed. That's fine. People change. Running has been amazing. You're done. I also remember, sometimes I'll be like, in like training, I'll be like, if you finish this, you can go get that dress at Zara or whatever. Like it's that constant negotiating and bargaining. And also sometimes your mind thinks stupid things, like you're tired, you're moody. Like, I mean, you and your partner might be like at it, and you go to like pretty dark places that are not like dark in a good way. Like, you don't want to hear about me and my amazing experiences with creation. I mean, there's that too, but in that you also do have dips of like, yes, you're in pain physically, but emotionally you might also be dealing with stuff, and you're just not feeling it. You're not having a good run, and it's not going your way. I remember one day, actually, I think I even made a post about it. Like, I went out on a training run, and it was pretty close to the race, and I couldn't hit my numbers that my coach had prescribed. And it wasn't like a short track session where, look, maybe you never meant to run that number. It's just there to try get you to try at least. But it was like a normal run, and it just wasn't happening. The day before, we sort of had like an attempted hijack on our bikes, friends and myself.
Oh, shit.
And that morning I'd started a run, and when I got back to my car, someone had tried to break into my car with a brick and try to smash my window. So I mid-run drove home, ran from home, wasn't hitting my numbers, and also so stupid, but like my earphones stopped working, and I was just huffle. I remember messaging my coach, and he wasn't very sympathetic with me that day. Sometimes he was, but he was like, I haven't run with music in 10 years. And I was like, it's not what I want to hear right now. But yeah, there's many moments like that, like especially 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you're tired, you're grumpy. There's more moments like that than moments of, this is amazing. Because draf is nog steeds nie lekker nie. So it is hard.
I want to stop you again, because I want to know.
Because I'm a masochist. I'm a masochist. That's why.
I want to know during the 10.5 hours that you did in Hawaii, did you think about annuities being paid and insurance and like what goes out? I want to know specifically about that grueling fucking 10.5 hours that you did.
Remember, this is also
what goes through your mind there, because because you're not just running, you're not just swimming, you're not just cycling. It is in a way. You're excited. It's adrenaline, and it's you are representing, in a sense, South Africa.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind there? And I'm sorry, I'm pushing a bit, but I want to know specifically, because this is what's interesting for me is what goes through your mind while you're there? How do you sort of stay in the moment, but
Yeah.
also stay in the moment?
No, look, physically it's exhausting, but mentally it's exhausting. And you might have one or two moments where you're like, wow, this is amazing. I had a good moment in the swim where I was like, this is amazing. This is paradise. And I had one moment on the bike just before things were in a little bit pear-shaped where I was like, wow, you know why it's amazing. Other than that, you're really focusing because remember, you are racing. You have a race plan to execute. And on top of that, you're not feeling good. So you're stressed. You're constantly trying to balance between when to push and when to pull back. Remember, 10 hours is a long time, but you are in a race and time adds up quickly. So in the swim, you're constantly looking for feet. You're stressing. You think you've recognized someone's tri-suit who's maybe also from South Africa and in your age category, you're like, well, that game is on because everyone is at home watching this, even though you might not be a competitive person. You're thinking about that. You're like, oh, what are the people going to think about me? I beat her there. Now she's beat me here. It's ridiculous. It's exhausting. Then you're like looking at your pace. All of a sudden, you're swimming so much slower. But what you don't know is that you've gone into some crazy big surge or swell, and only the guys in the helicopter can see it. And all of a sudden, you think, something's wrong. Next thing, this lady in 50-year-old plus is like overtaking you, swimming in that direction, and you're spotting, and you're like, oh my word, I'm swimming here, and the boy's there. It's chaos. Like it is really, really stressful, and you're constantly focusing. You're constantly thinking, who's going to be disappointed if I come out of this water in this time, or what time am I going to come out of this water, or like, what if? What are the guys in the house going to say? Like, it's ridiculous, it's stupid, because no one's even thinking about you. You're thinking about everything so hard. Same thing out on the bike. Like, you've got so much to think about. In transition, you've got to be really quick. You know where your stuff is. You've got so much to do. You're trying to do a kit change, trying to not get disqualified the whole time. It is a thing. Okay, swimmers, quite difficult to get disqualified. But as soon as you're out there water, you're thinking about things like, an example is your helmet has to be on your head, like at all times, even in transition. Like as soon as you've got your bike and you're pushing your bike, your helmet has to be on your head and clipped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like safety issues, not safety issues, but safety precautions, like guidelines. Penalties are common. Like you can get drafting penalties for littering that you don't even know something's fallen out, or having your bottles ready on your bike. Did you all of a sudden get a flat in transition? That happens all the time. Because remember, you've now come out of the sea. Now you've got to, as quickly as possible, get your bike, not waste time, because it's not like the clock stops. Now you're going to cycle for 6 hours, but you're in like a swimming outfit, if that makes sense. You're in a tri-suit. You're salty.
Yeah.
You're going to get sunburned. You have to think about that and heat stroke. Think about, what are you going to drink? Okay, there are water stations, but you might have something specific. You might have something specific that you need right there. You're going to put your helmet on. You have to think about a race number. If you don't have a race number on, you could also get disqualified. It differs from races to races where just the bike number is good enough. Oh, did I even mention finding your bike in transition? Do you know how hard that is? Thousands of bikes. You'll walk through transition 5 times and be like, my bike is at this yellow pole over here. You'll run through transition and then you'll see the yellow pole, and then there'll be like 5 new alleys. Driveways. It's late. I'm losing my words. But I mean, you can't find your bike. You're running up and down. You're shouting your number because you're hoping a marshal will be like, oh, there's your bike. You're like a headless chicken.
What happens if you take the wrong bike? Do people ever take the wrong bike?
So remember, your bike is set up for your size, but it will not be beyond me. Like I'll not put it past people. Also, bikes look the same. What happened one year where something looked so similar? I think that has happened. People had the same. Remember bikes? There's only like so many styles and colors and models. It happens. I wouldn't say people, but it happens where like Garmin's or your bike computer has been taken off your bike. So my valve core got taken or popped out or something, but that happened, and that affected my my bike leg a bit. But again, I don't want to go on and on about it because there's nothing you can do about it. But stuff goes wrong and you're constantly thinking about it and you're worrying. You're also thinking, where are your spares? How quickly can you change a puncture? What if you get 2 punctures? Now you've only got 2 CO2 bombs. You couldn't bring more from South Africa. You had to buy them in Hawaii and they were 100 Rand each when they're like 20 Rand in South Africa. No, it's, and then on the bike, you know what numbers you have to ride to. So you're constantly watching your display, seeing, are you riding in those numbers? Also gauging between when do you push and when do you hold back? Because again, it's a long day, but yes, you want to gain some places. Oh, okay, you want to gain some places. That means you got to overtake people. What's the drafting rule again? How many meters? Is it 12 meters? Is this 12 meters? Okay, wait, now someone else is coming. Now they're behind me, but I'm still overtaking. Now who's drafting who here? All of a sudden you hear motorbike and there's a ref and you're like, sure, but now you just pull to the side because you're trying to get carded. No, it's absolute chaos. Next thing you get a puncture.
It's technical, eh?
It's so technical. Yeah, you got to know how to change that puncture fairly quickly. You might have other bike issues. Now all of a sudden there's like a feeding zone. Now you're allowed to litter. Now you're like, okay, which bottle am I chucking? Where's the new bottle? Trying to rinse yourself off. Trying to grab the bottle while trying not to slow down too much, but you also don't want to take people out that are on the side of the road at the same time. And it's hot. You're like baking. Yeah, and then turn around. There's climbs, there's descents. Like how fast do you take corners? You might not be familiar with the course. What if you crashed? I mean, PE was such a reality for me. I was holding on for dear life. It was windy and raining on that day. And I mean, some people did come off badly. And then, yeah, by the time you get to the run, you also, I mean, there's this big thing on Kona. They say that in Kona, the race only starts at 32 kilometers. Are you kidding me? Do you know that is 8 kilometers from the finish? That's 10 kilometers from the finish. Now you want to tell me the race starts. What am I supposed to do from the start until there? When do you go hard? When do you pull back? You've never done this before. It's exhausting. It's crazy. There's so much expectation from yourself as well, and strategy. So yeah, the energy lab, like what's that going to be like? Are you going to make it? Are you going to blow before that? And then on top of all of that, like it hurts. It's hot. It's insane.
I was honestly not aware that it's so technical with all of this shit going on, because I thought you just get on a fucking bike and you go, right, we're going 100 kilometers that way.
Yeah, and you can imagine the pros.
I honestly did not know that it's so much fucking, that there's so much rules and regulations and you're not allowed to do this and you can't do that. And
there's many. That's why like race briefings are really important. Be familiar with the rules. Also, sometimes you get a card and they don't speak to you, and that color can mean like your time penalty. You might not even know what it's for. If you argue, you might get disqualified on the spot. No, it's really tense. Like the atmosphere isn't very relaxed at all. You're racing. There's rules. People aren't smiling. Yeah, and like especially like the pros. So if I could watch the men's race, because I raced on Thursday, it was amazing. You could watch the men race and the pros especially, and really see them get so focused, and also their interactions with their coaches and their competitors. And I mean, I get goosebumps speaking about it. It's so tense. It's like watching any team sport. Like it's amazing. But it's exhausting.
But tell me, obviously on top of this, there's a shitload of stuff happening internally to your body.
So you have to think about eating as well. I didn't even mention that.
Because it's I mean, you mentally have to keep going, but also you have to keep your body going. So how does that work? Because I mean, I can just think. I think I did a tiny minuscule bit of reading up about triathlons, and it all seems to be centered about round about your I asked my wife last night to say this word, and I couldn't get it right because I'm used to saying it in Afrikaans, because we say your metabolism, but it's your metabolism.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Because there's obviously you have to get your metabolism in sort of in a way that it uses stuff in certain times. And how the fuck does that work? How do you go through the race? What happens to your body through this 10.5-hour race?
I think again, this is where it helps to train the way you're going to race. So because you want some things to be second nature. Everything that you can control must be second nature. Example, where's your bike? What do you do in transition? Where do you pack your things? Same with fueling and drinking water in a race. You want to practice it so that it becomes second nature, so that there's no surprises. And this can be as specific as knowing exactly what you're going to eat at what kilometer of the race or how many minutes into the race, or something more flexible, like you're going to eat something, whatever's available, at every water station. Different things work for different people. But again, if you've committed to a strategy, practice it and you execute it. And then you don't think about it again. Eating on, they say that triathlon is an eating contest with swim, bike, run. But it really is. Because with the amount of training, I mean, you constantly are hungry. You are thinking about your next meal. And that's just in day to day. And then there's obviously fueling and food in racing and training. Yes, you need to practice it on the day so that you're not going to blow. But during training and just keeping yourself healthy and keeping that ticking over is just as important. And it's the fourth discipline. Okay, it's the fifth discipline. Transition is the fourth discipline.
There we go.
But it's huge. I think it's something that I spend as much almost time and energy on as I do in the other disciplines. But that's, again, something that's me, but very, very important and a big, big part of it. And underestimate how powerful it can be, but also how detrimental it can be if you get it wrong. I feel like I sound so wise.
You do. Can you remember what you just to come back to? And I know it's a useless factor, but just for interest sake, can you remember what you weighed going in and what you weighed going out?
So I didn't have a scale there, and there wasn't something in the hotel room. I hate to disappoint anyone, but I weighed the same. I weighed the same during all the training, but I did, that is in terms of, but I'll tell you what the changes that did happen. So I think I burnt between like 8,000 to 10,000 calories in that, like you would burn around there. Like it also depends. It depends on your weight, muscle mass.
That's a shitload of calories.
It's quite a few calories. And if you look at literature and science, so to burn in terms of ATP and energy, to burn 1 kilogram fat, the energy in 1 kilogram of fat is 7,500 kilojoules. So technically, you should have burnt a kilogram worth of pure fat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what science says. But then obviously you've also got a lot of water loss. I mean, you are so dehydrated. So yes, after any marathon, comrades or Ironman, the next day, you're ripped like a racehorse. I mean, you really are pretty lean, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, as soon as you start rehydrating, which you should and you will, your water weight will come back and you'll start looking a bit more full. And in terms of, fat and calorie input, the next day you're probably not training, you're really hungry, and it doesn't take long for you to replenish the 10,000 calories that you've burned. And then also, outside of a deficit of above, or let me put it this way, you've burnt a lot of calories on the race day. The next day you're not training, maybe you're spending a lot of time lying down. Those calories you're consuming are quickly able to add up and put that fat back on your body because you aren't training and you don't have that calorie deficit in the week that you're recovering again. So the bottom line is Ironman and big events and this type of, a one big race day, it's definitely not a strategy for like weight loss, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not a long-term goal. It's
Definitely
for
not.
a specific thing.
Yeah.
But do you have to, because obviously you have to control your nutrient intake and your diet and all of this before doing this type of thing. Afterwards, do you have to be careful what you eat? Because obviously you are now in an 8 or 9 or 10,000 calorie deficit while finishing this race. Do you have to be careful of what you take in terms of food and drink after the race to not get sick?
Okay, so there's the question. So yes, it's I think this is very interesting, and there's a lot of research that can be done around this. And I almost wish there was more time and that you would be able to focus on this more, because I think it's like in the long run, it really has an impact on a lot of things. But leading up to a race, I mean, I've never done something like carbo loading or that type of thing. I mean, maybe I stress eat a little and maybe eat a bit more, but the truth is you're so hungry. Well, you are hungry. You're training a lot. Your metabolism is on fire. Like, you are constantly hungry. Like, I mean, yes, that house was like, we ate. That's what we do. You eat and train, eat and train. Just sandwiches and bites. But yes, so after the race, the food that was on offer at Kona, and it's like that at most races, it's like burgers and pizza and that type of thing, which is amazing. I love burgers and I love pizza. But after a race, I sometimes can and sometimes can't stomach it. And if there isn't a variety like there wasn't at Kona, and you're not able to find something that you can stomach, be it an ice cream or a recovery shake or a salad or cereal, but whatever is going to go into your beck and stay down, that is great. But you do need to replenish, because what happened was I didn't replenish, and in the night I went to the loo and my blood sugar dropped so low that I fainted.
Oh shit!
And I had to wake up my poor roommate, who was trying to get his most important night's sleep for his race, because I couldn't stand up because my blood sugar was too low, my blood pressure was too low. And I think it's just because you don't have a big appetite after the big race, and you do need to try at least get your sugar levels up, and you're dehydrated. So yes, be intentional about what you have after such a big event. Also with your recovery, you want something that's ticking the boxes of protein and carbs. And yes, as much as you deserve a burger or pizza or whatever, I mean, you always deserve a burger or pizza, that might be too rich for you to stomach. I just didn't list for it. I don't know. I wanted something cold. And I just obviously didn't eat enough exactly post-race. So I felt really bad, the day after. But again, it's not the end of the world. Have your recovery shake then, and you slowly start feeling better. You're going to feel bad anyway. You're going to feel awful the next day. It's like, imagine the worst hangover that you can imagine. You have it for like 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, you're dealing with doing shit for 10.5 hours. I mean, it's recovery. It's recovery on fucking steroids.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Your obviously, I would. This is our pulling back to the post that brought me to you. This whole triathletes having a dieting problem.
Yes.
And obviously, as we said now, post race is just as important as pre race. But there seems to be a problem on average between the two. And just to give everyone an idea of what we're talking about, there's this thing that you shared on Instagram called Triathletes Have a Dieting Problem. And it's very interesting for me looking in from the outside, not necessarily just the post, because I went to go read the thing, but the response you got out of that was very interesting. And there was I just want to sort of sum up the post in two specific things. Is there was one of the captions was thinner is faster, and the whole body image versus performance thing. Now I'm very that now we can talk another fucking 4 hours about this, I feel. But if you could just sort of sum it up, why you made this post, why it's important to you, and what the fuck is going on in that whole sort of mindset, because it's a very interesting thing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'll be honest. I made the post and I still wanted to delete it just because I don't really like to get too, let's say, opinionated on social media and open a whole can of worms, especially about topics like this, because I don't know, is it negative? It's a bit sensitive, da 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 da. But I mean, when I went onto my Instagram the next morning and I saw my inbox overflow, I was like, well, gee whiz, there's no way I can delete this now. And I mean, wow, this is insane. So, so about the article, I'm not too sure about the scientific backing, but it basically said that a group of 300 plus men and women, triathletes, of the group, 100% of them were unhappy with their appearance and will try to lose weight or be on a diet. Okay, so however accurate or inaccurate the number is, to me, I was surprised that even like 1% of triathletes were unhappy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in all my time in this journey, this triathlete journey that I've been on, or actually, you know, the whole 10 years of being more active, I've looked at people, a lot of triathletes, and thought they're happy with their weight because they are so ripped, and I, you know, no one else is unhappy with their weight because look at them. They've obviously found all the answers. I'm the only chop still on this hamster wheel. I mean, just a little bit about Kona. To me, it was very interesting that I was training long hours and burning a lot of calories, but I wasn't losing weight, and I wasn't, to me, in the mirror looking like I would expect someone doing this amount of training to look. That being said, I mean, I work for a company that manufactures ice cream. I eat ice cream every single day of my life. Whether I would have looked different if I wasn't eating the ice cream or not, I don't know. But I just thought that it was interesting that I was training so hard and ticking off big boxes, yet I was still looking at myself thinking, oh, but you're still not dropping weight. But I mean, losing weight or fat, it was never even a goal of mine. It was never part of the training plan. I mean, did mention it to my coach when I qualified, and he said, "No, you've missed the bus," and spot on, because I needed to start training really hard and focus my energy on something else. But in my heart of hearts, I still wanted and thought that I should look different than what I was looking with all that training. But also, I mean, I don't mean like I've got this deep, dark secret or something. The post just reminded me of all the times that I'd done amazing things or done post-race or post-ride, and then just looked in the mirror and thought, no, come on, you can't keep looking like that. Or looked at pictures of yourself on a ride and thought, you know, I still need to look different or look better.
But this is actually the aesthetic value of this is very interesting, because you are at peak physique basically, while I mean you're not going to look like me when you training for fucking the Ironman. But there is a thing of, and I do think it's a mental thing. Obviously, it's a mental thing. I'm not saying this as if it's a new idea, but it is a mental thing of what you think you're supposed to look like, and it's not. It's just weird.
It is very weird. Again, I mean, I've been in this industry. I've been in doing this for triathlon specifically for a short time, but I mean, endurance sport. Been really fit. I've been really fit often and a lot in the last 9 years, and mixed with people that have been really fit and could achieve amazing things in terms of sport and amazing sports performances. But I didn't realize that, you know, some of them might even feel the same way. And, you know, them commenting on my post, it was almost like them saying to me, like, dude, are you okay? Because I don't even know if I'm okay. And that was like, wow. There might be other people out there that aren't okay. And I've chatted to some qualified people about it. And I'm not saying I've got any of the answers or the clarity to it. But I do think that maybe, you know, I don't want to say a can of worms have been opened, but we have started to speak about something which I don't think has been spoken about much at all. And maybe it's because we, as triathletes, and we're endurance athletes, call it what you want, it isn't a big emphasis that we want to look a certain way, because otherwise we'd probably be somewhere where there are more mirrors and we're constantly measuring ourselves based on the way we look in terms of photos and measurements. But no, we're measuring progress on FTP tests and time trials and you know, how fast and long we're able to do a specific discipline.
Yeah, for me it was interesting to see that post, because I say again, me looking in from the outside, I would have thought that, and I'm saying you guys, in terms of you guys that are doing these mega fitness things, would be super happy with what you look like and what your performance is, because there's a reason why I do it. I try and stay fit in terms of, I enjoy my lifestyle. I like drinking shitloads of whiskey. I have a cigarette more than I need to, and I try to counter that by having a jog, and I do a bit of kettlebells, and just I try to stay sort of in the vibe, just enough so that I can drink my whiskey over the weekend. So I would sort of think that you guys should be fucking careful with what you look like and what you're eating and what you, all of that. And it was so interesting seeing that post that you made on Instagram and seeing the feedback that you got with other triathletes and other coaches and other people saying this is a fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, you've just confirmed, like, we as, I want to say, most of them was women, but there's a lot of pressure on you to look like you have your stuff together, in terms of look like you're happy with the way that you are, look like you're grateful for your performance, look like you are so happy that you've gone up in your FTP number. There's the pressure to be so happy because, I mean, you're doing these things that everyone's goals are. You must be happy. But the truth is, there might be moments that we feel that it isn't enough, that we still are striving to aesthetically look a certain way, or we are expecting to look different aesthetically based on our output. And no, it's not something that we don't talk about it often, women in triathlon. And I also don't think it's a bad thing. Let me put it this way. I don't necessarily want to go on a group ride every Saturday morning and talk about it to everyone because it's a beautiful day out. And I mean, it just might not be a topic for the moment. I just am already finding comfort knowing that there are women around me in that group ride, in the same races as me, that might be having those same crappy little thoughts, judging themselves as hard as I'm judging myself. And just to say, guys, you're still amazing. It's okay if you're having crappy thoughts and if you think you're not amazing. Not one of those women who commented on my messages, on my post, I think need to change anything about themselves. I think some of them they're my goal body. They're, and even they strive to look different or have this thing in them. And I also don't think it necessarily means that we all have a mental health disorder or body dysmorphia or anything, to that extent. I think this is really just a realization that these strong women and triathletes, men, let's not generalize, that are achieving all these things, and it is amazing, even they think that they can be more, look better, look different. And I think while we leave it to the professionals to figure out, why is it that we feel this way? Is it something that needs attention? Is it a mental health thing? I mean, I don't know why we do it. I don't have the answers. But I think there's a few things we can do in the meantime to make it better.
And now this is now obviously personal opinion and it's not got fuck all to do with anything else, but do you think without social media, without Instagram, without Facebook, without all of this bullshit, do you think people would still feel the same? Do you think people would still be jogging and doing these elite races and going, shit, I don't think I look good enough? Without, because I often feel like people just portray a certain lifestyle because you can do it. If you take that away, don't you think that fucking you guys would go like, no, I'm fine with it all?
Do you mean specifically fine with the way we look, or with actually doing so many events?
No, with the way you look, because I mean this is the whole thing of the post that you made. That's what I'm taking away from it. And this is a bit of a callback to we can promote Millennium with their song
yeah,
yeah. Social Media, where they basically made a song about social media is bullshit. It's
yeah,
fake. It's we and it also pulls back to your post of, do you spend 20 minutes looking for the correct shot on top of Table Mountain because you jogged up there, or do you spend that 20 minutes training? And why do we do that? Do we do that for external? I say we as if I did fucking kind of.
yeah.
But do we do that for external gratification, or if we take all of that away, all of the external eyes on you, all of the photos, all of the fucking videos, would you be happy then? What do you think?
I think it's a brilliant question and topic. I think that there are two categories in here. I think that there are, well, let's say three. I think that there are people that do these events because they love it, the essence of it. They don't care too much about the posts and the social media. I mean, there are races out there even more special than Ironman that we don't even know about. Why? Because they don't care if we know about it or not. They don't want our money. They have very limited entries, and you will sit in a lottery for years before you go do that. That to me is cool, and that to me says a lot about a person. So there's those people, and I think even without social media, they'll carry on doing events and triathlon. The way they'll feel about themselves, I don't know if that will change, if maybe they don't have something to compare it to. But again, you might get to a race and you're comparing yourself to the people there. Then I think there are people that are active on social media, but also inherently love triathlon and promote inclusiveness, and their posts are inspirational more than intimidating. I think that they've got a healthy way of using social media to inspire people, draw people to the sport, share with their social friends, social network what they're up to, and they do it in a pretty good way. Then I think there are people on the other side of the spectrum who do spend more time making and creating the posts than actually just getting the job done. But again, that's if you're one of those people and you do triathlon and you love it and it enriches your life, then absolutely do it. It's an inclusive sport and it's yours to do. But I do think, yeah, we do have a bigger influence on those other groups than we realize.
It's an interesting thing. And I say again, I've never done anything in terms of fitness like this, like what you've done. But I always think of it in terms of like, if we did not have, if you did not have the eyes, not necessarily on you, but the type of person that does triathlons and Ironmans and comrades and all of this, I sometimes wonder, and I reached out to a few friends of mine, and I said, like, okay, I'm doing this podcast with a woman that did the Ironman. What would you ask if you had the chance to ask a question? And most of the questions that I got back was, do you do this for yourself or do you do this for outside gratification? And it was interesting because we've got this thing of, there's this running joke of, how do you know someone does CrossFit? No, they'll fucking tell you.
Yeah.
And I feel like we sometimes take away, we take stuff away from people like you. You did something fucking amazing. And if you are at a braai and you fucking talk about your experience of doing the Ironman, the World Champs in Hawaii, I feel like people should shut the fuck up and sit back and listen, because it's something that only, how many South Africans were you? 24, 25?
We
It's
were
like
actually, yeah.
There's a lot of people get to do that. So fucking listen up. Because the people that tend to throw their fucking 5 cents in are people that have not moved more than 500 steps in the last 5 days.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
It's difficult.
Yeah. What's ironic for me about Kona, I often feel like, or this is what I feel like, the people that actually qualified and got an opportunity to go are not the people that are shouting the loudest and making the biggest scenes about it and about how much they should go and deserve it. And I almost giggled. I was like, is that the universe's way of saying to those people, like, sick, you are, just shut up. You don't deserve this. You're giving triathlon a bad name, or whatever it could be. Because I think this is also something that is close to my heart. And maybe also why I didn't do Ironman for a long time, and also why I don't want to really be at a braai and tell everyone about whatever it is that we do. Because yes, you think Ironman is really cool and that I did it. I think
I do.
Like it was cool, but it's, I definitely have other goals that aren't sports related, and that might be something that you do with your eyes closed, and maybe that connects to the post. We're never happy with the things that we've achieved, but be basically just like be a lucky person as well, even if you do achieve cool things or you have nice experiences, because when you do try something new, and I get these messages even tonight, and I'm so happy that people feel that they can send them to me and ask me, because it's from people I don't know, but they ask me the hard questions, the awkward questions, the weird questions that I wish I could have asked someone and not have learned the hard, expensive way. I mean, I've really I did some dopey things, just because I didn't know any better and I didn't have the courage to ask anyone. But
what are the, because I sorry, I asked you, I did ask you to put a post out, just for your followers to sort of get in tune. What are the questions that you got out there?
I got some questions specifically around how Kona happened, how did I get the entry, and then more about the travel and finer details for people that do want to go there. But I think that's almost, there's a lot to share, and I think it's something that you can share in a email or voice note, and I did touch a little bit on the qualification process. Another question was specifically around swimming, and they have this fear of open water.
Yeah, did someone at least ask about the sharks? Because I feel like that's the first thing that I would have asked, like, where the fuck are the sharks? Is someone looking out for the sharks?
Guys, I go through moments where I was fine, and then when Mossel Bay happened last year, I just got this shock, and I was like, but the sharks, I don't know. And now I'm okay again, but I don't know. Ask me next week; it might be different. But anyway, I think that I really do believe that no matter your background or your financial standing or your talent, if you think there's something that is challenging and might make you see yourself in a different light, like an Ironman or something you think is, I don't want to say above you, but something that there's no way I can do that. Maybe just do some research and make a list of realistically why. Andre and I are quite different in this sense, but I'm like a not a I don't take no for an answer type. I mean, okay, obviously within reason, but he will sometimes say, you know, this and this and this, it can't happen. And I'm already thinking, okay, but I met this person's cousin and their mom works at this place, and I'm just going to phone her and ask because, and I promise you that has been invaluable in my lifetime, in many instances, but also a lot in sports and triathlon because there's gear and there's equipment and there's advice and, but if you aren't nice to people and you don't build up a network and you don't also put out willingness to help and give advice and be approachable, then I don't want to say, obviously I won't say you don't deserve for good things to happen, but if what you're putting out there, you're going to attract the right people that are going to make all of that worth it and make it possible for you. Yeah, and there is also a lot of knowledge out there. Like, let's talk about weight loss in triathlon. I'm not saying it's something that shouldn't happen, but there's so much research and enough literature out there that says if you want to train optimally and you've got a specific event in mind, also trying to consciously have a weight loss program is, I want to say, near impossible. I mean, I'm not ashamed to share that in the middle of my peak training for PE, I got a professional person to try write me an eating plan because I really, really, really wanted to lose some weight. Guess what? I didn't lose a gram, not even one, not even a single one. So I almost want to say, focus your energy on the training. When you're done and you're in an off season, maybe weight loss is something that can happen there, but it's not a reflection of your worth as an athlete, the work that you've put in, none of that. And even if you feel the way I do sometimes, that your efforts should make you look different, and maybe is there something wrong with you that you're feeling that way? My hard answer is no. I think we're a product of a society, maybe of the social media. You're not an alien, and a lot of people feel that way. A friend said to me the other day, and I laughed so much. She was like, you know what? Because she said to me, you know, I looked at my photos from Kona and I just thought I should have just been a bit leaner. I also look at my photos from Kona and I think the same, but in all honesty, I don't know how I could have. I mean, I didn't have a minute in my day for a diet or calorie counting or something. I mean, it is hectic. It's hard enough. And you know what she said then? She was like, we're so stupid because we're going to look at these pictures this time next year and we're going to say, I wish I appreciated my body because look how thin I was there.
Yeah, but I mean, that just pulls back to going, those pictures is it is the thing of you don't go back to, fuck, I wish I put a bit of mascara on, or
No.
I wish it's like you were in the thick of it. You in the middle, you 40 kilometers into a 180 kilometer cycle. Why the fuck would you give 2 6 about what your eyelids look like? It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I feel like nowadays we so fucking
Critical on ourselves. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, triathletes are there, you know, some of them, I'm quite perfectionist and can be OCD about things, and maybe it's to do with that. Again, I think that I'll leave it to the professionals to figure out why triathletes have this dieting problem. But in the meantime, if anyone feels that way and you're feeling down, you feel like you're alone, it's okay. We're stupid and we're doing it, but we're okay.
I feel like I feel like going, guys, eat a peanut butter broodjie
I mean,
and get over
exactly.
it.
That's why we're friends with people like you. 100%. Just
I'm the guy that'll
we're
say,
stupid.
listen here, have a Savannah light and
Amazing.
fucking move on.
Which we do as well. And we can sometimes do that. But sometimes you get into this hole and you have this idea in your head and you're like, what is wrong with me? And we know that we're stupid.
Nah. I wanna ask you something, and we can cut this out of the episode if need be. But I can only ask you this because you're a woman, and it's gonna be weird, but it's just a question that ran through my mind today, and this is very, very fucking personal. And excuse me for this, but if you putting all training aside, if you go to an event like Ironman and you are a woman and you have your period during a 10.5 hour race, what the fuck happens then?
Sure. Yeah. So I think that, I mean, it's probably the same, like, what if you need the toilet? Like, guys, you guys need to poo every 2 hours.
That would be my next question.
No, you just we're gonna turn
I'm
it
sorry.
into a joke.
I'm very sorry. This is a very personal question, but I'd obviously you guys have certain cycles and you need to change and all of this. So I was just wondering, like,
no, to be honest,
you stuck
have a
for 10
Mirena
hours
for that,
and you're swimming
yeah.
and
No,
you're on a bike and yeah.
It's a very, very, very good question. There are like loo options, but I think when I entered PE, I just said like I don't know if I mentioned earlier, like just try and make your life easier. The stuff that you can control it. And I had well, also I don't want to fall pregnant, so I have a Mirena, and that actually just it's totally normal if anyone thinks that it's not, but it like basically takes your period away. So I mean, I actually just like don't even worry about it. Yeah, and I think if anyone wants to get away from that, you know, I'm not saying go onto contraceptive for this, but there are ways to get your cycle to you skip your cycle. Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying yes or no, but it is something that will skip, and it is a thing. Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying that it's the right way. And then number two, there's things you can take that can definitely make it much lighter and more comfortable, because apart from the practicality of it, like you can have really sensitive skin and areas and back, and I mean it's a disaster. It can be a disaster.
I was just thinking, like, of course, that'll just on normality without the race, that'll fuck up your week.
Hey? Why don't you ask me where do people pee?
That was my next question.
Oh,
If
you never
need to pee, do you just go, fuck, I'll wait till I'm in the ocean, and then I'll just go.
So unfortunately, I mean, you are taking in like a liter of fluids, 500 to 1.5 liters of fluids an hour. Yes, I can't believe I'm going to answer this question now. Everyone's going to know.
Go for it.
Because I said I'm never going to ask people because it's so personal. I hate it. Okay, fine. I guess I think I'll survive. So it's like very, everything is already wet and sweaty, and there's a lot of water, and you're constantly pouring water over yourself anyway. So getting out of a tri-suit, finding a loo, like, that's not going to happen. Also, your urine is pretty diluted if you're drinking
Okay,
enough
so
water.
I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy to say it. If you want to take a piss, you take a piss. Is that okay? Can I say that?
But you just don't stop. Like, don't stop moving. And I mean, as soon as it's out, you're already just rinsing yourself. So it's not like a thing, but do know that most people crossing the finish line have definitely peed themselves.
Okay, so this is the last. This is, I can go through my pages. This is the last question, but I feel like I need to ask this now. What happens if you need to take a shit?
You go in your hand. No.
Are there points? Can you go like, okay, fuck, I need to go
Number
another 20
one,
k's, and
number
then I can,
two.
there's a
No.
portaloo, and then I can go shit
Well, I
somewhere.
don't know. I'm scared to give this answer because I'm scared people will sue me. But actually, I've spoken to other close friends of mine. Like, we just drink Imodium the night before and on the morning because,
Okay.
like, ain't nobody got time for that because you just
Ain't
don't.
nobody got time for that. I love it. Listen here.
Don't ask me if it's healthy or not. I don't know. All I know is I do it.
Okay.
Gotta do what you
Well,
gotta do.
this is actually a great fucking intervening moment. What's your stance about performance enhancing drugs while we're talking about Imodiums?
Flip, I don't
what
even
are
know
you
if that's something.
what's the vibe there? Because my honest opinion about all of this is I feel like we need to give a certain amount of humans, we need to give them all the fucking steroids that is healthy enough to give them and just see what they can do. I want to give someone 75 million cc's of whatever the fuck I could give him and see how fast that guy can swim, run, and cycle.
A normal guy.
Just catch a guy out of like a fucking game. I want someone that works in game in South Africa. Just a normal guy in game. Just come here. I'm gonna give you all of the steroids. Don't let him train in any way. Just give him all of the steroids and let him loose there in Hawaii.
Look, it's another thing I didn't mention when I went on my whole chat about all the things that go through your head. But so during the race, besides your race strategy and watching your splits and your time and your food and fueling, you also, I don't know, I have this fear that I'm going to get tested and something's going to show up that I have no idea about, because it has happened where people have used something that they thought was safe. Let's call it a recovery shake from a brand, and it has had a contaminant that's banned according to WADA, the WADA list of banned substances. So there's that fear. And but the truth is, and if you go on SAIDS and WADA and the websites, it is on you as an athlete, as someone who pays that entry fee, who signs that entrance. You have to take responsibility for whatever you're using in terms of medication, supplements, that it is in line with the race rules. So, unfortunately, it has been brought to my attention. I hate talking about this. But
oh no.
Oh no. But I think it's not a secret that there is a lot of let's just say doping among age group athletes like myself. Because
What's your age group?
so
Another
I
question
used
that you
to
don't
be-
ask a woman.
So this year I'm 30 to 34. And last year I was 25 to 29. So I'm not competing this year because I'm a baby in this age category. I'm getting absolutely
A
eaten
shame.
alive. Yeah. No, age is your friend in this game. But yeah, so apparently doping among age groupers is quite popular, and I can believe that, considering that they're probably less likely to get tested than the professional field, who it's standard procedure. And I mean, as a normal working person, an age group athlete, like life's hectic. So you want to recover as quickly as possible, get the best gains in a short amount of time as possible. And unfortunately, this stuff is readily available. It's literally as simple as typing it into Google, ordering it,
Yeah.
and within 3 days, it's at your house for under 500 Rand for a month supply. Are you kidding me? I mean, but then it goes back to you as a person inherently, what you will and won't do. And I mean, we can talk about that forever. But so there's that. Then there are banned substances which are banned, but it's also a mission. So I mean, going to any Ironman event, some people take medication chronically that's been prescribed and it's totally within their rights, but it is also banned. For example, many sleeping pills, antidepressants. Let me see what I have here. Some painkillers. But what you can do is there's a form, I think it's called a TUE, or like a therapeutic exemption application, something like that you fill out and you send to Ironman or whoever. And I think it is also with your doctor, and they'll give you, I don't want to say permission, but I think they acknowledge your, and then they'll decide whether they're going to allow you to compete or not. But I would definitely rather recommend that than getting to an event. You do get random tested, and something's come up, and you might be innocent in terms of you're not using it for sports enhancement, but ignorance of the law or of the rules is just not an excuse. If you are adult and grown up enough to commit to big events and to train and to put in all that effort, just get onto the website. Also, it changes annually. They're often updating what is and what isn't banned. Become familiar with it. Yes, it's difficult, but Google the big word, figure out what it is, whatever medication you're taking, figure out what the metabolites are, and just make sure so that you know when you are commenting on topics like this, you have done your research. You know what is and what isn't allowed. And yeah, just don't be ignorant to it. It's so, yeah, it's sensitive. Yeah. So things like ibuprofen, paracetamol, aspirin, that you can have. So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication is allowed. Cannabinoids, not allowed. No growth hormones, any hormones. So it's tricky. Something you might be taking might be on that list.
Anything that'll make you grow a beard, that is not allowed.
Are things that I think are performance enhancing and that are allowed and that I would recommend. But I do say this almost like, if you look at a pyramid, the bottom to me would be sleep, nutrition, or let's say you're doing your training. You do your training, adherence. You stick to your training program. One up would be nutrition and sleep. You eat vegetables, fats, carbs, fruits, and you're sleeping well. Then the top is where I would put performance enhancing substances, etc., etc. Okay, so here's some performing enhancing substances that I think are worth spending money on. The first one I would say is like a protein shake. It sounds bizarre, but I really think people underestimate if you're putting your body through hours of training and you're really depleted, something like a protein shake after a workout it's amazing. It can really just elevate your recovery and also your hunger levels. Just quickly replenish, get you in the right space again. I mean, I find it hard to believe that a pill in a single can do more than something like a protein shake that really has all these amino acids and everything you need to build up whatever you've lost in intense exercise. Another thing for me, I can feel if I haven't been taking is something like magnesium. Magnesium, I think, is an athlete's friend. Like, Slow Mag should totally sponsor me. Guys, are you listening to this? I really do. Slow Mag or magnesium, any magnesium, I think is worth investing in. Another thing is caffeine. Coffee, caffeine. If you need a boost, it's allowed. It's allowed on the race. Caffeine, have a Red Bull. I can instantly feel like I feel better. Another one, and this is, you like it or you don't. I've had really good success with CBD oil for sleep, to improve my sleep. And I had to, so closer to the race, or when I familiarized myself with the water list, I changed over to CBD that was THC free, because otherwise it's got cannabinoids and you'll test positive for that. But if not CBD, then whatever you need to do to improve your sleep, if it is having an aircon installed or getting bamboo sleep pajamas or rosehip oil that you sniff before you, but do what you need to do to make your sleep quality as amazing as possible, because sleep, I cannot stress enough. I don't sleep a lot of hours, but when my head hits that pillow, I'm out. And when I wake up, like, it's fine. We go again. And then finally, and this is also maybe a bit controversial, but I'm not scared to share, is like just a pre-workout. Like, I get days where I wake up and I feel so dik op and like just not motivated. And again, just check the substances, check the water list, but most of them are okay, because they just really have a lot of caffeine and like something else that makes you jittery. But I can always guarantee you, like, if you've had pre-workout and you've got dressed, the chance of you not going to your session is like pretty min. So yeah, those are my 5 performance enhancing drugs.
What's your okay, so we touched on you're not allowed to have earphones in during the race. Do you train without music? Because I cannot fucking function without. Okay, so I've said before on this podcast, I am a podcast aficionado when it comes to listening to podcasts. I've got my earphone in my right ear for fucking 10 hours a day. Do you train without music or?
Yeah, no, I do. Some people don't. I weighed up again. Like, ideal would be cycling outside, running in Hawaii, swimming in the sea. If means the difference between me doing a workout and not, it's me getting like a good playlist. And it's something I'd put it on the performance enhancing drug list, in fact, because I really think make playlists that you love, because you got a lot of time to kill. Like long runs, okay, I said your mind is constantly busy in the race, yes, but in training, no. You often have a very standard long run with very few changes. The bike, again, it could be long intervals where you do need music. And I really found, like, I had a playlist that I adored and I shared it with people as well. It was It's amazing. I think you should link it. I think it's even called Kona or something. It's really cool. But, it just, I think it makes you train harder even instead of going into like a sixth gear and just feeling miffed. But it really, really pulled me through. And even now when I hear the songs, I just remember getting so amped, and it helped so much. So yes, on race day, you're not going to have your earphones. But again, on race day, you're not going to be by yourself. You're not going to be running from home. There's enough other stimulus that's keeping you there. But I mean, in training, use music. It's amazing. It helps so much.
It's crazy because I would have thought that you would opt out of using music as a subliminal thing during training because you can't use it while you're in the race. Because for me personally, I can't do fuck all. I can't go through a shower without listening to music. I'm on that spectrum where if I wake up in the morning, I need noise to drown out the noise in my head. So I shower either listening to music or watching a podcast or whatever, and then when I'm on the treadmill, I listen to something. Kettlebells, I'm watching Friends because I know it's an 18-minute, 20-minute episode. How the fuck do you do training with it and then do the event without it? Does it not?
It's hard enough training. Do you want us to train and have silence? I mean, come on. Can we just have something? Sure. No, look, I hear you. And some people might disagree with me. And I actually forgot to say that at the beginning of the podcast. But this is my opinions. And it's not, this is the way and this isn't the way. This is just what I've done and what works for me.
Personal experience.
Look, the more unpleasant you can make your training session, probably the better. And yes, we do try to do that. I mean, heck, that's what the set is for. Like, you put yourself through agony and it's horrible and it hurts. But each to their own. I mean, I have seen people train in solitude, but I've also gone to like track sessions where we play the boombox, and it just is a lack of vibe, and people are pumped and everyone's at least finishing the set, And again, I think also put it in your training as you need to. For example, when I did my sauna suit training, it was horrible, but I didn't do it for every single workout. I did it once a week, put myself through that. It was agonizing. I try to simulate the same conditions as I would have in Kona. And then the next bike, I'll let myself have music and you have that. But no, you are spot on. You do need to try and do as close to race day, but also don't get yourself to a place where you hate training and you hate your life, because it's already hard.
Oh no, shit! I don't want to go through that. I'll live vicariously through you. I'll let you have that. But listen here, Carla, this has been amazing. Ooh, wait! Before I go and fucking say thank you, are there any more questions that you got from Instagram that you would want to talk about?
I don't have questions, but I do have some tips that I would like to read out.
Go for it.
That really helped me. Okay. So, and cut me off if I get too long, but I think they're quite short and sweet. Basically, they're just little things that really, really worked for me, and I wish that I knew it then, what I know now. But if you do this, you can save some time. I've done the homework. Okay, so the first thing I would say is get into a routine ASAP. So basically, how much time you have, put in your schedule, where you need to do what, the non-negotiables. When are you working? When are you seeing, I don't know, a standing arrangement? What time do you want to wake up and what time do you want to go to bed? And that's like your blueprint. And that mustn't actually change, because the quicker you can get into that routine, the more comfortable training will become, and it will just become second nature. This is actually, all these tips are based like trying around like energy saving. We don't want to spend energy on making decisions, debating whether we are training or not, what workout we're doing. No, your routine is in there. You set your alarms and you go, 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 go. Another one
I
is,
I wanna stop you there, because I
yes.
think that is one of the most crucial points, is routine. I think I've got a fucked up job in terms of, I start 2 days, I start working 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I start working at 7, and then I start working at 8, and then I work at 11. It doesn't work. You need to get that routine in of wake up at 4 o'clock, do your shit, go to work. Wake up at 4 o'clock, do your shit, go to work. Routine takes you a long way.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at babies, okay, again, guys, I don't know much about kids. I don't have kids, but I've seen routine. Babies love routine. I'm like a baby. I really thrive on routine. But I know, Philip, your workouts are weird. But if you know what your workouts are going to be, it's a weird routine, or it changes. But every week, I mean, if your Mondays always look the same, then that's a routine, every second Monday. Again, the path of least energy, no decisions to be made. Another one is plan as often as you need to. At the beginning of this year, even though I don't have a race, I think it's just a habit I've picked up. I needed to do it last year, and now I'm addicted to it. It's so nice. I literally, my whole year, I've printed out by month. And then every month I've put in important dates, things that are happening, weddings, maybe a race. And then I've got a planner for a week. I know exactly what my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my blueprint is there, and I fill in as I need to. And then every day is part of my morning routine. I put down, I prioritize one personal admin task. Maybe there's something that's on my mind for work, and then something else I need to handle. And I just write it on paper, and then it stays it stays in my mind. This one's funny, but I'm not even lying. Even outfits, like I constantly clear out my cupboard, and I have dresses, and I know on a Monday, okay, not that anal, but like I've got outfits that I like, and I don't have stuff that I don't want and that I don't wear, because it takes energy in my brain to now think, I haven't worn this thing in so long. No, this is what we wear. On Tuesdays, we wear pink. I'm joking. But you get the idea.
Yeah, there we go.
You'll see where you're wasting time making decisions that are mundane. Like, just get dressed, and that's it. And then, okay, so I've said routine, planning. Also, you want to plan in where your workouts go, whatever your coaches put on your thing. And then the third one was to be organized. Organized, it's you define how organized means for you. But I've been very frustrated and lost a lot of time. Things like not finding your bike light or your watch charger in time, and now the group has left you. Not finding shoes in the dark, and you don't want to wake your partner up, and your stuff's everywhere, and now you've lost something expensive and have to go about replacing it. Like, your time in training for things like this is so precious. You can't be suckling or crapping around for stuff. Decide early on where you want to leave stuff, what basket goes where you charge your things at the end of every day, and where your bottles live. You'll save yourself a lot of frustration. Okay, now I have just a few personal tips. They're not,
Go for it.
Again, it's up to you. It's my interpretation. The one I wrote, I said, stay true to yourself. And an example would be, say that, and this is me. I really love having a glass of wine. I really love it. And I thought that I need to not have a glass of wine because I must fully commit to this. And to get to Kona, I can't have a glass of wine. I mean, who does that? And I didn't have a glass of wine maybe for a week or two. And I became the most mislick person. And I realized me having the glass of wine is going to get me to Kona. Me not having a glass of wine is not, because Andre's going to leave me and I'm going to have no friends left. So stay true to the things that you can't let go. Honor them and put them in your plan. Obviously, not everything, but there'll be something. Okay. The second thing I said was
I want to
yes.
chip in there. I did half a marathon on a liter of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes.
And you
You'll
made
be
it.
able to do, and I made it. You'll be able to do
Well,
the
maybe
rest.
that's
Come
why
on,
you made
guys.
it. Okay, the second thing was I said just do your workouts. Like remember, like you're training for this thing. So just tick the thing. Just do the workout. Don't try debate and squeeze, because you know what? If you didn't do your workout today, you can't do it tomorrow. That's the thing with full Ironman training. It's so hectic, day. Tomorrow has its own toughness. You're not going to do today's workout and tomorrow's workout. If you don't do it, then leave it. It falls off. It's done. Yes, it sucks. You didn't do it, and you're probably not going to make it. No, I'm joking. You probably will also make it, but I'm just saying, don't skip the training. I mean, it's so duh, but it isn't. Like trust me, I've tried to skip and catch up, and it's a nightmare. Then you saw me on a rest week, unplanned. No.
Just
Okay.
do it.
Okay. Third, I said know your strengths and your weaknesses and act on them. For example, when my alarm goes off, it used to be next to me. I would put snooze so easily. Now, my alarm in the morning, it's literally on the other side of the room. I have to get out of bed, walk 10 meters, and then I switch it off. And by then I'm awake. So then I'm up and then I'm going. So that's my weakness, is like that sleeping in thing. Or say, for example,
There's actually, sorry, I want to just
no.
interrupt you there.
I love this stuff.
There's actually a study. I can't cite anyone. I just saw this somewhere. There's a study done about counting to 5. Your mind sets you in a vibe of 5, where if you want to do something, count to 5. If you don't do it before 5, you're not doing it, because that's the amount of time that your mind takes to reset itself. So if you want to, like you said,
amazing.
If you want to go for a run, the moment that you decide, I'm going to go for a run, count to 5 and get up before you get to 5.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment. So
it's brilliant.
Allow yourself 5 seconds of bitchiness, and then control your bitch.
Exactly.
On 5.
Exactly. Because remember, we've decided you're not skipping the thing, you're just doing it. So you're never going to want to do it. I wake up every morning, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then I'm going to go. I know it's hard to believe that I actually don't want to, but here we go. Okay, another thing, like know your weaknesses and your strengths and act on it, is like, I know how important recovery is after long training. And on a Saturday, I'm exhausted. You've got bikes and equipment. So on a Friday, I make myself such a nice lunch for Saturday. It's got in my recovery things ready, and it's there and it's in the fridge and it's waiting. Okay, I don't do it every single Saturday, but I did try a lot in the harder sessions, and it really, really helps, because it's done. You're setting yourself up for success. You're doing yourself a favor for tomorrow. Also, like app managers, I wasted a lot of time just getting stuck in because I was procrastinating. I was going on Instagram. I was waking up at 4 and then I was Instagramming for 40 minutes. And then I actually got like a, whatever it was called, like a screen time thing that like you can't
screen
access.
Time management thing.
Yeah, and it was good. I mean, I had to keep bopping myself because I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? Now you more workout. And it takes a while to get into that routine and build that discipline. But you just chip away. You just chip. And then the last thing I wanted to, and another thing, your strengths and weaknesses. Like me, I don't like swimming alone. I'll go once a month if I have to, but I just get bored and then I don't finish the session. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to join a swim squad. Yes, it's going to cost me a little bit more, but I know I don't swim if I'm on my own. So now I'm committing to the swim squad. I'm going to save money because I enjoy riding alone. I'm going to ride alone. That's fine. But swim squad, I'm going to do. So just like little small things you'll learn about yourself, but act on your strengths and weaknesses so that you set yourself up for success. Okay. The last thing was don't be too peeperig and don't take yourself too seriously because you're not a professional. Have a glass of wine. Just relax. Everything's going to be fine. None of your stuff's going to be perfect ever. And that's also fine. We like you the way you are.
That is a kiff way to fucking. Do you know, have you ever heard of David Goggins?
Yeah, like you running your 21 kilometer, that's like him running that 100K. So my mate made me read this book on the plane to Hawaii. Oh, David.
So you know, okay, so obviously
I know,
you know
for David.
David
I know
Goggins.
for David, yeah.
The biggest thing that I enjoy about him, now obviously, he's a tough motherfucker.
Derek.
What I enjoy about him is just his daily videos that he puts out on Instagram. Just fucking carry the butts. Just carry the butts. And I'll make a small little callback to Jock and Gideon. I know Gideon's not listening to this. Fuck you, Gideon. But and we've got a accountability buddies. So we buddies and we accountable. And we do these tiny little. What did we do? We did 100 push-ups a day in November.
Wow, that's awesome.
And we doing 100 squats? 100 squats in February.
Every day.
Yeah, 100 squats. I think it's 100 squats a day in February. So I need to keep myself busy with these type of bullshit things just to keep saying. But you're doing something.
So on that thing about one thing a day, I just want to tell you this because I think it's brilliant, and I also have things like that. If you're trying to build a new habit, it's not about getting all the days perfectly in a row. What matters is never allow yourself to skip more than one day. And that, when I applied that
difficult.
got me quite, because you want to build this habit. Now you skip one day. It's okay. Tomorrow you go again. But as soon as you skip 2 days in a row, your habit
you're done.
is now slipping. And I think that's more realistic because we all deserve to skip maybe one day every now and then. But to skip 2 days, says me who's probably skipped about 4 of that habit.
It's difficult. It is difficult. Like I said, I mean, me and Jim went through Sober October, and we initially decided to do kettlebells every day. And I told him, hey, winner, doing something that you've never done before every day is fucking difficult. Let's opt for every second day. And he said, no, every day. I think I managed 15 days. So it's basically every second day. The push-up challenge was fucking difficult because I'll be honest, I didn't do 100 every day, but I did my 3,000 push-ups in the month because I did keep up. If I skipped a day, I did 200 the next day, and there was a few days where I had to do fucking. There was a few that, like, you get to a Saturday and you go, fuck no.
Yeah.
And then you get to Sunday and you go, I skipped yesterday, I might as well skip today. And then you get to a Monday and you go, fuck, I have to do 300 today.
Yeah.
300 push-ups is not a fucking joke. And it's that tiny increments. So And it's that thing of loss versus gain, where you don't feel the loss, but if you have to gain, it's a fuck up. And
It's
I think that's
yeah,
that's what you said. It's just do that little bit every day,
yeah,
because playing catch up is fucking difficult.
yeah.
Rather do 100 a day than doing 300 on a fucking Tuesday.
100%. Like that's how they work out training programs. I mean, every event or sport, okay, well, that's one method of training, but they allocate a training stress score to it. So it will say basically, to do this event, you need to build up a total training stress score of 10,000. And then you work out how much time you have leading up to that event. And then you can break that stress score into each week. And then every workout contributes to the total stress score of the week. And then the sum of it will give you your event stress score. And that's how you know you're ready, because you've performed and got those numbers to tally up. It's all science. But again, it's just one method. Anyway.
Carla, I can talk to you about this stuff for hours. We've been going for probably close to, well, what's this? We're just over 3.5. Yeah, we should be close to 4 hours now.
We've done
So
well.
I think we've done well. Thank you very much for just fucking being kiff and saying you'll do this. And yeah, I enjoyed this. So yeah, thank you. This has been fun. It's been an interesting take on someone that's actually done the whole Ironman thing. And I'll pull back to going. Fucking people go, you're standing around a braai in South Africa going, yeah, I did the Ironman. Fucking Ironman is not, it's a fucking hell of a thing. And I want to give you a digital high five. There you go.
Thank you, Paul.
Cheers, Carla.
Cheers. Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's very nice to share this, and yeah, for listening to my old opinion, for whatever that's worth. But I really enjoyed chatting to you, and I hope I've convinced you that maybe, just maybe, you can run more than 21. Maybe if you have 2 whiskeys.
I doubt that I'll go more than that. I'm not doing an Ironman, that's for sure. But I'll keep just being a bit more fit than your average person, and I'll try. I've done a half marathon. Half marathon? Yeah. So fuck you guys. Do a marathon and then we'll chat again. Carla,
Good.
thank you very much. This
Thanks,
has been
Paul.
a hell of a trip. And I'll check back in with you in, let's say, a year's time, and then we'll see what your time is.
Sounds great. Cool. Cheers.
Cheers, Carla. Cheers, bye.
Bye.